Chapter 1904. The divine mathematician had already informed everyone about the catastrophe. Others might not know, but how could Longao not know about it? When all was said and done, the so-called catastrophe was nothing more than a game of chess played by Master God Diviner. As long as the divine mathematician did not take the initiative to open the seal, who could find the sky martial plane? There was no other way. Whoever was stronger had the right to speak. Everyone was actively preparing for it. Everyone knew very well that when the catastrophe came, countless cultivators from the vast starry sky would rush into the sky martial plane. At that time, what would the 10 directions tripod be? Lin Junhong, with the Grade 1 divine beast King Kong Tiger, also left the star-secret realm smoothly. His luck was not bad. A man and a tiger both obtained Grade 2 divine beasts. After a year of cultivation, both of them broke through to Grade 2 starry sky cultivator. Lin Junhong was fully focused on cultivation and did not know what happened in the sky martial continent. He had just broken through to become a starry sky cultivator and could not wait to find Longao for revenge. Wanzhan's school. Funtian's cultivation had also broken through to Grade 2 starry sky cultivator. Because he had devoured a Grade 4 starry sky godhead, Funtian would definitely become a Grade 4 starry sky cultivator in the future. Not only that, Funtian also had the help of the Grade 2 divine beast star cloud dragon leopard. Wanzhan's school. The 9 heavens void was endless. Looking at Lin Junhong in front of him, Funtian sighed deeply. Once upon a time, Lin Junhong was his most valued disciple. He never thought that Lin Junhong would betray him and the sect. "Master, why did you call me here?" Longao, who had just arrived, did not know what had happened. However, when he saw Lin Junhong and King Kong Tiger opposite him, he already knew what had happened. Longao was surprised that Lin Junhong was not dead. It seemed that Lin Junhong and the others had stayed in the same place to cultivate and did not continue to explore. In that case, it would be easier to leave the star-secret realm. Funtian, I am your last disciple. For so many years, I have done my best for the sect. Even if I did not contribute, I have worked hard. But how did you treat me? He was full of resentment. Until now, Lin Junhong still could not understand why Funtian would give the best things to Longao. In what way was he inferior to Longao? Resentment. Endless resentment. The reason why Lin Junhong came this time was very simple. It was to kill Funtian and Longao, but since Longao was here, he would save himself the trouble of making an extra trip. He sighed deeply again. I know you've always wanted the burning heaven array art, but you don't know that you're not suited to cultivate it. Funtian, don't say such things here. Whether it's suitable or not, how would you know if you haven't tried it? Just based on your one-sided words? Lin Junhong definitely wouldn't believe him. Looking at Longao, Lin Junhong sneered and said, If I hadn't underestimated you back then, you wouldn't have lived until now. Longao, I have to admit that your talent and potential are the most terrifying I've ever seen. But don't worry, you'll die soon. Longao didn't say anything. He was prepared to leave the matter of cleaning up the sect to his master. It's still not too late for you to turn back now. I can let bygones be bygones. You just need to shut yourself in for 100 years. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Hearing Funtian's words, Lin Junhong suddenly laughed crazily, as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. Turn back? How can I turn back? As long as you are willing to hand over the burning heaven array art and kill Longao, then I can let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, there's no need to talk about it. Are you really so stubborn? He sneered. Funtian, you were the one who let me down first, not the other way around. Today's matter, everything has to be blamed on you, blamed for being too unfair. I don't object to you teaching Longao the burning heaven array art, but you have to treat everyone equally. As if he was already impatient, Lin Junhong's face was filled with disgust. Things had already come to this point, and there was no turning back. Turning back would mean eternal damnation, a bottomless abyss. Aoer, help me clean up the sect. With just him? He laughed again, because Lin Junhong was full of confidence. With his current strength, coupled with Diamond Tiger's help, who in the Sky Martial Continent would be his match? However, he did not know that the current Sky Martial Continent was no longer the same as before. Many people had obtained high-level Starry Sky Divine Deity, but they had not completely refined it. Even so, there were still many people who could kill him, such as Fun Tian and Longao. Not to mention Longao, after all, with Longao's strength, not to mention a level 2 Starry Sky Cultivator, even a level 3 Starry Sky Cultivator could easily kill him. For example, Fun Tian, other than being a level 2 Starry Sky Cultivator, the Nebula Dragon Leopard's strength was far above Diamond Tiger's. If Fun Tian teamed up with the Nebula Dragon Leopard, it would not be difficult for him to kill Lin Junhong and Diamond Tiger. A person must know their own limit. Lin Junhong, I will clean up the sect on behalf of Master today. As soon as he finished speaking, a dragon's roar rang out. Immediately after, Longao's huge body appeared. 100 feet long dragon body appeared in the void of the 9 heavens, covering the sky and covering the sun. Diamond Tiger was originally full of confidence, but when he saw the other party's strength and aura, he was so scared that he almost fell down. You. A level 2 Starry Sky Cultivator with a level 2 Starry Sky Divine Beast. Lin Junhong sensed Longao's powerful strength, and had already guessed that Longao had also devoured a level 2 Starry Sky Divine Deity in the Starry Sky Secret Realm. If Lin Junhong knew that Longao did not break through to level 2 Starry Sky Divine Deity because of devouring a level 2 Starry Sky Divine Deity, who knew what he would think? Even so, Longao, I don't believe that you can defeat me. In addition to his own strength, Lin Junhong also had array formations. With the breakthrough in his cultivation, Lin Junhong had also become a Grade 2 Starry Sky Array Master. However, he did not know that Longao had also become a Grade 2 Starry Sky Array Master. Therefore, it was almost impossible to kill Longao with array formations. A dragon and a tiger glared at each other. As for Longao and Lin Junhong, neither of them made a move because they were waiting for the best opportunity. If the enemy did not move, they would not know. If the enemy moved, they would make the first move. However, Longao still made the first move. With a spatial teleport, Longao took a step forward and disappeared from the spot. His speed was too fast. While Lin Junhong was shocked, Longao's attack had already arrived. Lin Junhong fought Longao while Diamond Tiger fought Longchong. Fantian did not make a move. Until now, he still could not bear it because Lin Junhong had followed him for more than 1,000 years. He had long regarded Lin Junhong as his own son. Unless it was a last resort, he really did not want to make a move. Until just now, he was still thinking about how Lin Junhong could turn back to the shore. Chapter 1905. This path was chosen by Lin Junhong himself. Fantian had tried his best, but in the end it was too late. In that case, he would listen to fate. Whether Lin Junhong lived or died, it all depended on him. If Lin Junhong was a level 3 Starry Sky Cultivator, Longao might be afraid. But now, he was only a level 2 Starry Sky Cultivator, almost the same realm as Longao. Longao thought that he was invincible among those of the same level. Lin Junhong was a level 2 Starry Sky Array Master. Longao found it tricky to integrate the array into his strength. Reincarnation Heavenly Eye opened. After months of cultivation, Longao had integrated the Primordial Spirit attack into the Reincarnation Heavenly Eye. Longao found that the combination of the two increased the power of the Primordial Spirit attack by several times. Lin Junhong's Primordial Spirit could not be compared to Longao's. At the same time, Lin Junhong began to attack crazily, and the terrifying power spread in all directions. Lin Junhong never expected that the other party was so strong and had Fun Tian on his side. If Fun Tian and the Nebula Dragon Leopard attacked, would he still be able to survive? There was no doubt about it. Longao, even if I die, I will never let you go. King Kong already knew Lin Junhong's intention through the spiritual sense transmission. What else could he do? They were going to die anyway. King Kong and Lin Junhong chose to self-destruct their primordial spirits at the same time. The power of 2 level 2 Starry Sky cultivators' primordial spirits could be imagined. Longao disappeared and returned to his arm. Longao did not dare to be careless and kept retreating. Even he did not dare to face the self-destruction of the primordial spirit. Otherwise, no one knew what would happen. If it were someone else, even if they were fast, it would be difficult to not be covered. However, Longao's situation was very different. He had teleportation and in the blink of an eye, he had already escaped with Fun Tian. Ah! Seeing the 2 people leaving, Lin Junhong was furious. He thought he could kill them, but in the end, Bai's primordial spirit self-destructed. Boom boom. 2 loud sounds. Both Lin Junhong and King Kong were completely dead. In the distance, looking at the fallen Lin Junhong, Fun Tian let out a deep sigh. Although Lin Junhong had betrayed him and the Wanzhan school, he still felt a little uncomfortable watching his most beloved disciple fall. Master, Lin Junhong deserves it. You don't have to do this. I know. This matter ends here. Aoer, I have something to say to you. The 2 of them didn't continue to dwell on Lin Junhong's matter. After all, he had only himself to blame. If he hadn't betrayed the sect, Lin Junhong would have continued to be the master of Wanzhan school. Everyone had their own choices. They could not say that Lin Junhong was wrong, nor could they say that Longao and Fun Tian were right. However, it was certain that the winner was king and the loser was in the wrong. Master, what's the matter? Seeing his tired master, Longao seemed to have guessed something. As expected. Aoer, I'm tired. I don't want to continue like this. From now on, Wanzhan school will be merged with the Dragon sect. I'll be the elder of the Dragon sect. Without giving Longao any chance to speak, Fun Tian continued, I've made up my mind. You don't have to persuade me. Since his master had said so, what else could Longao say? The news of Wanzhan school merging with the Dragon sect shook the world. What did it mean for the Purple Thunder sect and Wanzhan school to merge with the Dragon sect at the same time? From now on, the Dragon sect would be the strongest existence other than the Heaven and Earth sect. However, in terms of overall strength, the Dragon sect would be the strongest while the Heaven and Earth sect would only be the second strongest. Whether it was the Wan Shou sect, the Long family, or the Azura Palace, none of them dared to go against the Dragon sect. Their individual strength wasn't good enough, nor was their overall strength. The 3 super sects were constantly worried and afraid. If Longao were to come, how would they deal with him? However, the 3 super sects' worries were obviously unnecessary. After the Dragon sect annexed the Purple Thunder sect and Wanzhan school, Longao didn't choose to seek revenge or expand his territory. Instead, he chose to go into seclusion to cultivate. The calamity was coming. He wanted to take advantage of this 1 year to stabilize his cultivation. If he could continue to advance after a year, he would have more confidence. Longao was very clear about this. Although countless Starry Sky cultivators came to the Sky Martial Plane just to enter the Starry Sky Secret Realm, he believed that many of them wouldn't enter the Starry Sky Secret Realm. Otherwise, the Heavenly Tao wouldn't have killed all the Starry Sky cultivators who stayed outside. The outsiders didn't have any feelings for the Sky Martial Plane. When the time came, blood would flow like rivers and corpses would be everywhere. Because of this, Longao decided that no matter what happened, he had to stabilize his cultivation within a year and break through to level 3 Starry Sky cultivator. After obtaining more than 90 Starry Sky godheads from the Starry Sky Secret Realm, the Dragon Valley would have at least 80 starry sky cultivators in a year. If the calamity didn't come, the Dragon Valley would definitely be able to sweep across the continent. But when the calamity came, the situation would be completely different. There were countless experts in the vast starry sky. Who knew how many starry sky cultivators would come? Let alone others, just fifth-rank starry sky cultivators weren't something the Dragon Valley could deal with. It wasn't just Longao. Everyone in the Dragon Valley began to cultivate, especially those who had devoured the starry sky godheads. They all chose to enter seclusion. Other than the Dragon Valley, even the other superpowers did the same. They all knew that once the calamity came, they wouldn't have enough power to protect themselves. Once those starry sky cultivators entered the martial heaven continent, they would all be destroyed. That was the real problem. Power. Right now, the martial heaven continent was very calm. All the second-tier powers, third-tier powers, and even the fourth-tier powers felt that the current martial heaven continent was different. Everyone calmed down. As for the 9 provinces continent, ever since Longao had left with the dragon sect, the 9 provinces continent no longer had an overlord. As for the other superpowers, they looked down on the 9 provinces continent. Because of this, the original sects and families of the 9 provinces continent began to slowly rise. They chased each other, wanting to become the new overlord of the 9 provinces continent. The martial heaven continent had calmed down, but the 9 provinces continent was still in a state of carnage. All the sects and families had suffered countless casualties. In the end, none of the sects or families had been able to become the new overlord. They had been the weakest of the 5 major continents. After this matter, the 9 provinces continent had become even weaker. Time passed bit by bit. Everyone was working hard on their cultivation, and the calamity was slowly approaching. Outer Sea. Within the Crystal Palace. P.S. I'm about to start writing the calamity chapter. It can be considered a climax, so I have to write it well. Today, I'll think about the plot and see how I should write it. There are still 2 chapters left. I'll definitely be able to write one before 11:30. As for the final chapter, it'll have to wait until 12. Chapter 1906. A year passed in the blink of an eye. You're both here? Yes. Right now, Tiandao and Long Batian were very respectful, because the calamity was coming. Even they couldn't guarantee that they would be able to survive it. This was a test. If they survived unscathed, they would be able to enter the 4th or even the 5th space of the star realm. If they were lucky enough, they would find a great opportunity. That would be awesome. But if they died, they would have nothing left. In 3 days, I will open the sealing barrier. Here came the main topic. According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, once the seal is opened, there will probably be hundreds of thousands of starry sky cultivators pouring into the mainland. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators? Neither Tiandao nor Long Batian was moved in the slightest. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators might be a lot for the martial heaven continent, but in the vast starry sky, it was a drop in the ocean. What the 2 of them really cared about was what kind of cultivators would enter the martial heaven plane this time. They didn't care about ordinary cultivators at all. The only exception was the ruler or ruler of the starry sky. When Master God Diviner saw the expressions on their faces, he could guess what was going on. Let's not talk about the starry sky zone lords. There are plenty of starry sky zone emperors. As for starry sky zone emperors, that's none of your concern. As expected, whether or not there had been a ruler of the starry sky last time was unknown. The 2 of them had always thought that the God Diviner was just a ruler of the starry sky. They had never imagined that the God Diviner was a ruler above the ruler of the starry sky. My lord, what should we do now? Don't care. Don't care? The 2 of them thought that they had misheard. Whether or not you can enter the 4th or 5th space of the starry sky secret realm, you must first pass this test. Remember, even if you're fine, you must ensure that the martial heaven continent is fine. Hearing this, the two's faces turned ugly. When the calamity descended, protecting themselves would be a problem, let alone the martial heaven continent. The two of them were depressed to the extreme. Could the two of them do it? This matter is decided. Leave for now. In 3 days, come find me here. Yes? The two of them were well aware of Master God Diviner's personality. Since this matter had already been decided, there was no room for negotiation. After the two of them left, the corners of the marvelous mathematician's mouth curled into a sneer. A year had passed, and the calamity was about to descend. 3 days. Everyone on the martial heaven continent was extremely worried. No one knew just how many cultivators had entered the martial heaven plane this time. Just 1,000 of them would be enough to destroy the martial heaven continent. Furthermore, everyone knew that this calamity wouldn't just be 1,000 people. There had to be at least 10,000 of them. It was scary just thinking about it. After a year of cultivation, Longao not only thoroughly consolidated his cultivation, but also broke through the Grade 2 Starry Sky Cultivator and reached Grade 3 Starry Sky Cultivator. Longao was very satisfied with the speed of his improvement. After all, he didn't devour the Starry Sky Godhead unlike the others. In the main hall. Everyone gathered in the main hall. Purple Thunder Ancestor, Funtian Yi Tianhua, Long Haosher, Long Yi and the others. Everyone's face was very solemn because Longao had already told everyone about the calamity. Countless Starry Sky cultivators were about to flood into the Tianwu continent. At that time, who could resist the calamity? Coughing twice, Purple Thunder Ancestor broke the silence. Master, in 3 days the calamity will descend. Where should we go? This was the most urgent thing to do. They couldn't afford the slightest neglect. After thinking about it, Longao said helplessly, 3 days later, the massacre abyss will be completely sealed. Without my orders, no one is allowed to enter or leave the massacre abyss. Funtian also said helplessly, fortunately, Chief-elect, Master, and I work together to set up the array. Even a Grade 5 array master can't enter the massacre abyss. It's just a Grade 6 Starry Sky cultivator. It's hard to say. Even though the array was powerful, it wasn't invincible. Just as Longao was about to say something, a strong vibration suddenly sounded out between heaven and earth. Sensing the trembling heaven and earth, everyone stood up and looked towards the void of the 9 heavens. Their faces changed. Purple Thunder Ancestor said in shock, there are powerful cultivators outside attacking the martial heaven realm. The heaven martial plane had been discovered. As for whether the marvelous mathematician had done it on purpose or not, no one knew. However, everyone was very clear that this seal would not be able to stop the Starry Sky cultivators from entering. The catastrophe was already set in stone. From now on, without my orders, no one is allowed to enter or leave the massacre abyss. Yes. It wasn't just the massacre abyss. Everywhere in the martial heaven continent, including the other 4 continents, everyone started to move. No one knew how big the calamity would be this time. Boom, boom, boom. The sounds of the heaven and earth rang out continuously as more and more cultivators gathered outside. Based on this attack, even if the godly diviner didn't break the seal himself, the seal of the martial heaven realm would definitely be broken. In the 9 heavens, thousands of miles of clouds, Heaven's will and Longbation's faces were equally terrible. Even though the two of them had always been at odds with each other, they had come to a temporary agreement under such circumstances to get through this first and enter the Star Secret Grounds. Otherwise, if they didn't join forces, not only would they not be able to enter the Star Secret Grounds, they might even die in this calamity. I'm afraid the calamity this time around will be brought forward. Even if you and I join forces, we're still not invincible. Star Zone Lords are easy to deal with, but if there's a Star Zone Emperor, or even a Star Zone Emperor, we won't be able to deal with them at all. Let's hope that the powerful beings above the Star Zone Emperor will not linger around the continent and enter the Star Secret Grounds directly. That way, we'll still have a chance. It wasn't that Long Batian was worried. It was the truth. A Star Zone Lord wouldn't even have a chance to fight back in front of a Star Zone Emperor, let alone a Star Zone Emperor. Even if they were to move their fingers, both of them would fall. Yes? 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Originally, Master Godly Diviner had been prepared to open the Sealing Chi barrier himself. But he hadn't expected that after 3 days of continuous attacks, the Heaven Martial Plane's Sealing Chi barrier would be broken. In an instant, the sky darkened, and hearty laughter resounded throughout heaven and earth. After 10,000 years, we've finally found it. Chapter 1907. The sky was filled with people. Starry sky cultivators were everywhere, forming a dark mass that blotted out the sky and covered the sun. Everyone on the sky martial continent was stunned. This was the catastrophe that the godly mathematician had mentioned. Worthy of being called a catastrophe. Everyone was scared silly. They had never seen so many starry sky cultivators. They were so scared that they immediately ran away. There was no exception. Hundreds of thousands of starry sky cultivators who had entered the sky martial continent all flew to the outer sea. The seal was closed again. No one paid attention to it because everyone had come to the sky martial continent for the starry sky secret realm. The starry sky cultivators who came later were all blocked outside. The godly mathematician had done that on purpose. No matter how many starry sky cultivators attacked the sky martial continent, there was no movement. The sky martial continent began to change its position. Outer sea. As soon as hundreds of thousands of starry sky cultivators arrived, they released their terrifying starry sky aura. Before the islands in the outer sea could react, all the islands were suppressed. In the outer sea, except for the sea, all the people on the islands were killed. The terrifying power descended in an instant. Everyone was dumbstruck. They seemed to have guessed something, and all the starry sky cultivators roared in fear. It's the power of the star boundary. The starry sky territory ancestor. There's a starry sky territory ancestor here. The starry sky territory ancestor was an invincible existence above the starry sky territory emperor. No one had ever thought that there would be a starry sky territory ancestor here. Was he the godly mathematician? The godly mathematician had arrived. If it was before, no one would have put the godly mathematician in their eyes. It was just a middle-grade continent. Not to mention a starry sky territory ancestor, it was unknown whether there would be a level 9 starry sky cultivator. But now? Whoever dares to kill the innocent will be killed without mercy. Everyone was afraid of the starry sky territory ancestor's power. They had thought that the sky martial continent was just a middle-grade continent. Even if it was destroyed, they wouldn't care. However, with a starry sky territory ancestor here, it was a different story. Haha, we're just joking. Sir Godly Mathematician, I believe you already know why we're here. Why don't you open the starry sky secret realm and let us in? No. No? Hearing the godly mathematician's refusal, everyone's face paled. Even if a starry sky territory ancestor was powerful, 2 fists couldn't fight 4 hands. Godly mathematician. Godly mathematician, you're too overbearing. Right at this moment, a hearty laughter arose. A middle-aged man and an old man walked to the front. They were the only 2 territory ancestors of the starry sky territory, Hong Lin territory ancestor and Chi Tian territory ancestor, among hundreds of thousands of cultivators. Not only that, behind the 2 territory ancestors were 6 territory emperors: Territory Emperor Yebu, Territory Emperor Ouyang Tua, Territory Emperor Feng Xiong, Territory Emperor Lin Yi, Territory Emperor Li Mei, and Territory Emperor Yi Bai. Even so, Master God Diviner didn't seem to care at all. The more Master God Diviner acted like this, the more uncertain everyone became. Chi Tian, Hong Lin, you can enter the Star Secret Land now. However, to punish you for what you've done, you're not allowed to enter for a year and you're not allowed to leave the sky martial realm." With that, Master God Diviner took a step forward, vanishing without a trace. After all, this was Master Clairvoyant's territory, and Master Clairvoyant was in charge of the Starry Sky Mystic Realm. If they angered Master Clairvoyant and the Starry Sky Mystic Realm couldn't be opened, wouldn't their 10,000 years of searching be in vain? "Brother Hong, what should we do now?" "Brother Chi, 1 year is just a blink of an eye for you and me. Let's wait for 1 more year. Let's see what Master God Diviner will say after 1 year." Chi Tian nodded. Chi Tian and Hong Lin left, one on the left and one on the right. They didn't leave the outer sea but chose a secluded island to cultivate. As Hong Lin had said, 1 year was just a blink of an eye for the two of them and for all the cultivators in the Starry Sky Martial Realm. The 6 Starry Sky Domain Emperors, Domain Emperor Yebu, Domain Emperor Ouyang Tua, Domain Emperor Feng Xiu, Domain Emperor Lin Yi, Domain Emperor Li Mei, and Domain Emperor Yi Bai, didn't say anything. They just looked at each other and left. They each occupied an island and began to cultivate. The 30 territory emperors did the same. 38 super powerhouses had already made their choice. As for the remaining Starry Sky Domain Lords, Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivators, Grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivators, Grade 7 Starry Sky Cultivators, and even Grade 6 Starry Sky Cultivators, they all chose to start cultivating. There were so many islands in the outer sea that it was enough to accommodate all the cultivators in the Starry Sky Martial Realm. Of the hundreds of thousands of cultivators in the Starry Sky Martial Realm, there were definitely cultivators who didn't want to stay here to cultivate. In any case, the Martial Heaven continent was huge. With their strength, they could do whatever they wanted. Furthermore, there were many cultivators in the Starry Sky Martial Realm who had many grievances with each other. Originally, for the sake of the Starry Sky Secret Realm, they could have temporarily chosen to put aside their grievances. However, there was still 1 year left. They had to settle their grievances first. About 30,000 cultivators in the Starry Sky Martial Realm had left for the Martial Heaven continent, the 9 provinces continent, and the 5-plate continent. Among them, the Martial Heaven continent had the most cultivators. What did this mean? All the cultivators in the Starry Sky Martial Realm, who were wholeheartedly pursuing the martial Tao, had stayed on the outer sea islands to cultivate. With the deterrence of Master God Diviner, the cultivators in the Starry Sky Martial Realm didn't dare to go on a killing spree. Even so, there were still death. In the slaughter abyss, Longao sat quietly. He already knew what was happening outside. However, tens of thousands of cultivators had entered the Martial Heaven plane, and there were cultivators of all levels. Although the Dragon Sect had over 60 cultivators in the Starry Sky Martial Realm, once they left, it would be like comparing a drop of water to the ocean. "Are we just going to stay here?" Nodding, Longao said helplessly, "Grandfather, I just received news that cultivators from the Starry Sky Martial Realm suppressed the Outer Sea Island." Master God Diviner was infuriated and delayed the opening of the Starry Sky Secret Realm for a year. "As long as we endure for a year, this matter will pass." In the end, Longao chose to endure. If he was alone, he could do whatever he wanted. However, he had the entire Dragon Valley behind him. If he took a wrong step, he wouldn't even have a chance to turn back. He couldn't act rashly. How could Long Haosher not know about his grandson's worries? After a year of cultivation, he had already broken through to the 4th rank of the Starry Sky Martial Realm. However, was that useful in this situation? It was completely useless, as any random Starry Sky cultivator would most likely be stronger than Long Haosher, which was also why Long Haosher was so annoyed. Chapter 1908. The Heavenly Das? Just as Longao and Long Haosher were discussing countermeasures, the Heavenly Das suddenly descended. Why had the Heavenly Das come at this time? "Longao, we finally meet?" The heavenly Daos recognized him? Longao was almost certain that the heavenly Daos didn't recognize him. It seemed it was because of the God Diviner. We finally meet. The heavenly Daos smiled and sat down without the slightest politeness. Longao, since you've been chosen by the God Diviner, we're now on the same side. What do you think? He nodded. Longao didn't say anything. He didn't know why the heavenly Daos had come this time. What did he mean by on the same side? I trust you already know about the calamity. He nodded once more. If we fight on our own, we won't be able to stop the invasion of the cultivators from the starry sky. Although they're only here for the starry sky secret realm, in a year, the martial heaven continent will probably be in ruins. No one knew about the heavenly Daos and Longao's test, including Longao. In the eyes of outsiders, the heavenly Daos' actions were completely righteous and awe-inspiring. The God Diviner doesn't care? Longao was very curious. With the God Diviner's power, suppressing these cultivators wouldn't be a problem. Longao even believed that the reason the heavenly Daos had delayed the opening of the starry sky secret realm was to let these cultivators trample the martial heaven continent. There are some things you don't understand. He really didn't understand. In the end, he wasn't strong enough. My purpose is very simple. I've already established the Heavenly Tao Alliance. From now on, all the cultivators of the martial heaven continent belong to the Heavenly Tao Alliance. Your dragon sect is a branch of the Heavenly Tao Alliance. All the cultivators of the starry sky are elders of the Heavenly Tao Alliance. What do you think? Did he have a choice? If he chose to refuse, Longao was certain that he would be a sinner of the martial heaven continent. Inside, he cursed the heavenly Tao. This method was no different from a bandit. Even if he was unwilling in this situation, he could only choose to agree. I have no problem with that. Ha ha, good. As for the operation, I'll come find you later. The heavenly Tao stood up and turned to leave. Aoer, it seems that the heavenly Tao has other motives for doing this. Definitely. The heavenly Daos wouldn't help the martial heaven continent for no reason. It seems it's because of the star secret realm. How could Longao not know about the shamelessness of the heavenly Tao? Grandfather, we have no choice but to agree to the heavenly Daos. Otherwise, we'll be enemies of the martial heaven continent. At that time, we'll have both internal and external problems. It'll be very difficult for us to establish ourselves on the martial heaven continent. How could Longao not know about the current situation? I'm only worried about one thing. When the time comes, the heavenly Tao will use us as cannon fodder. Cannon fodder? Less than 2 hours after the heavenly Tao left the massacre abyss, a piece of news spread from the sky martial continent, which was the formation of the Heavenly Tao Alliance. In this type of situation, no one objected. Everyone was in agreement, including all of the powers. The Heavenly Law Alliance had 2 alliance masters. One was Tian Dao and the other was Long Batian. Regarding the formation of the Heavenly Law Alliance, all the cultivators in the sky martial continent didn't dare to be careless. That was because the 2 alliance masters of the Heavenly Law Alliance were the 2 starry sky domain lords. This time, only 2 of the starry sky domain lords didn't stay in the outer sea islands to cultivate. The rest all came to the martial heaven continent. As for the remaining starry sky domain emperors, starry sky domain ancestors, they all stayed in the outer sea islands. The 2 starry sky domain lords of the martial heaven continent were Dugu Aotian and Ling Huchen. All the cultivators in the sky martial heaven continent didn't form group. Instead, they fought on their own. They were divided into large and small forces. There were hundreds of them, and some of them only had 2 or 3 people. Even so, no one in the martial heaven continent dared to underestimate them. But one had to know. This time, the people who entered the martial heaven continent were all starry sky cultivators. This was a devastating blow to the martial heaven continent. Longao couldn't believe the heavenly Tao. Just as his grandfather said, What if the heavenly Tao made him and his sect cannon fodder? That was exactly the case. Longao didn't tell anyone that the dragon sect already had over 60 starry sky cultivators. There were 10 of them in total. This was definitely an overlord position in the Martial Heaven continent. In the current Martial Heaven continent, other than the starry sky cultivators that Longao hid, there were less than 40 starry sky cultivators. What kind of concept was that? There were over 20,000 starry sky cultivators in the Martial Heaven continent. If it weren't for the heavenly Tao and Longbao's deterrence, the Martial Heaven continent would have been destroyed in an instant. The Heavenly Tao Alliance was located at the Heavenly Tao Peak. It was also the peak where the Heavenly Tao cultivators cultivated. Usually, no one dared to take half a step into the Heavenly Tao Peak. But now, a dense crowd of people was rushing to the Heavenly Tao Peak. Because the Heavenly Tao Alliance master was anxious, everyone had to rush to the meeting. Heavenly Tao Palace, Heavenly Tao Peak. The Heavenly Tao and Longao were sitting at the head of the table. Below them were the starry sky cultivators. On the left was Xing Kuan, and on the right was Longao. Although many of them had reached the third rank of the starry sky, according to the ranking of strength, Xing Kuan and Longao were definitely ranked first. Even Xing Kuan couldn't compete with Longao. Everyone, this time I've called all of you here. I believe everyone already knows why. Although the godly diviner has deterred all the starry sky cultivators, he won't do anything unless they destroy the Martial Heaven continent. Therefore, the safety of the Martial Heaven continent still needs to be protected by us. From the beginning, the Heavenly Tao was already standing at the top. Under such circumstances, who would dare to refuse? I'm a very simple person. I know what everyone is doing. If anyone dares to escape, unless you can escape to the vast starry sky, I will kill you. A threat. It was a blatant threat. However, the Heavenly Tao had the capital to threaten. The Starry Sky Domain Lord was already a peak existence in the Martial Heaven continent. Even the scattered Starry Sky cultivators didn't dare to casually provoke the Heavenly Tao Alliance. The real reason was that they were afraid of the 2 Starry Sky Domain Lords. In order to show everyone's sincerity, the 8 major sects will each go out and kill a Starry Sky cultivator, at least a second-rank Starry Sky cultivator. Finish it within 3 days. If the sect can't complete it, there's no need for it to exist. The Long family, the Pill Alliance, the Martial Artists Alliance, the Wanshou sect, the Dragon sect, the Sword sect, the Azura Palace, and the Heaven and Earth sect were the 8 major sections. As for the Wanzhan School and the Purple Thunder sect, they had already been annexed by the Dragon sect. P.S. I'm really sorry. After the last injection today, my finger joints are obviously much better. Little 9, go all out. This is the first of 10 chapters. Chapter 1909. Everyone cursed the Heavenly Tao in their hearts. They should be thankful that the Starry Sky cultivators outside did not come looking for trouble, but now they had to take the initiative to attack. Was this the legendary provocation? They dared not speak out. In any case, the strength of the Heavenly Tao was there. A Starry Sky Domain Lord could easily kill them. Even if there were 10,000 unwillingness in their hearts, it was not enough. Everyone still stood up and walked outside. Longao, wait. Longao was very curious, wondering why the Heavenly Tao stopped him. What's the matter? Your Dragon Sex branch is slightly stronger, so you have to kill a grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator. Longao did not speak and turned away. He could clearly feel that the Heavenly Tao was targeting him, but there was no other way. The initiative was now in the hands of the Heavenly Tao, not in his own hands. Heavenly Tao, you did it on purpose. Longbao's face was very gloomy because everyone could feel that the Heavenly Tao was targeting Longao. I treat everyone equally, Longbao. You and I have agreed before. Don't delay us because of your selfishness. Without giving Longbao a chance to speak, the Heavenly Tao continued, We only have one chance. If you want to die, then we will separate. With a deep sigh. Of course, Long Batian would not miss this opportunity. He could help Longao, but he could not lose the opportunity to enter the Starry Sky secret realm for Longao. Seeing Long Batian not speaking, the Heavenly Tao snorted and turned away. Leaving the Heavenly Tao Union, Longao's face instantly became gloomy. Heavenly Tao, one day I will trample you under my feet. In this case, he could only endure. Once he shed all pretense of cordiality, it would not benefit him or his family. This time, Longao came to the Heavenly Tao Peak alone. As for Purple Thunder Ancestor and his master, they did not come. The reason was very simple. In Longao's view, the first thing to do was to preserve the strength of the dragon sect. The most urgent thing now was to kill a grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator. Otherwise, if the Heavenly Tao took the opportunity to deal with him, it would be very troublesome. If it was a year ago, it would be difficult to find a grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator. But now, he could easily find a grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator. And the result? Before Longao could make a move, a piece of news had already spread from the Sky Martial continent, a piece of news that shocked everyone. The master of the dragon sect, Longao, possessed a heaven-defying martial skill, shatter the starry sky. Not only that, Longao also had various treasures on him. Space teleportation. As soon as the news spread, all the Starry Sky cultivators immediately became restless. One by one, they greedily prepared to take action. Previously, because of Longao's deterrence, even if someone was greedy, they would definitely not dare to make a move. But now, the situation was completely different. Heavenly Law Alliance. The Heavenly Tao also received the news. His expression was very indifferent, and no one could tell what his expression was. Tian Dao knew very well what it meant to shatter the starry sky. Even if he broke through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord level, he wouldn't be able to do so. Not to mention a Starry Sky Domain Lord, even a Starry Sky Domain Emperor or Starry Sky Domain Emperor would not be able to do so. For Longao to possess such a heaven-defying martial skill, he must have obtained it from the Star Secret Realm. Star Secret Realm. Thinking of this, the Heavenly Tao clenched his fists. 10,000 years. As long as he could endure this, he could enter the fourth space, or even the fifth space of the Star Secret Realm. In that case, he might also obtain such a heaven-defying divine ability. The Heavenly Tao didn't intend to make a move. Shatter the starry sky. He believed that even if he killed Longao, he wouldn't be able to obtain such a heaven-defying divine ability. Longao, I'd like to take advantage of this opportunity to see how you deal with it. Since there was already one Long Batian, the Heavenly Tao naturally didn't want to see a second Long Batian. Since the godly mathematician had chosen Longao, there was no doubt that Longao would become his obstacle in the future. The Heavenly Tao didn't make a move, but that didn't mean that others wouldn't. The Starry Sky cultivators who came to the Martial Heaven continent this time were all inquiring about who Longao was. With Longao's fame in the Martial Heaven continent, it didn't take long for everyone to know about him. As for who spread the news, it was easy to guess. After a year of cultivation, Su Renfeng and the evil-eyed demon dragon's cultivation had also successfully broken through to grade 4 Starry Sky cultivator. But even so, the man and the dragon still did not dare to casually look for Longao. After all, Longao had given them too much of a deterrent. Kill with a borrowed knife. They did this because they wanted to kill Longao with the help of foreign Starry Sky cultivators. Longao didn't return to the Massacre Abyss, but he had already instructed the Chief-Elect and his master to completely seal the Massacre Abyss. With the current formation of the Massacre Abyss, it could completely resist cultivators above the 5th level of the Starry Sky. However, it was obvious that cultivators above the 6th level of the Starry Sky wouldn't be able to resist it. Jiuzhou Continent, Chihua Town, Tianzhou. Longao had purposely spread the news that he was heading to the Tianzhou continent of the Jiuzhou continent. As expected, the people who got the news all rushed to the Jiuzhou continent. There were more than 10,000 people heading to the Jiuzhou continent. It was enough to show how great the temptation of breaking through the starry sky was. In the eyes of starry sky cultivators, breaking through the starry sky was much more valuable than the starry sky godhead. With such a heaven-defying supernatural ability, one could kill enemies above their level. Because of the competition for the overlord position, the Jiuzhou continent had suffered a great loss. Now, so many starry sky cultivators had invaded the Jiuzhou continent. Everyone was stunned and no one dared to show up. As for the starry sky cultivators who had entered the Jiuzhou continent, they didn't start a massacre because no one dared to provoke the godly mathematician. The starry sky territory ancestors were the super-existences above the starry sky territory emperors. They were the top existences in the vast starry sky. Not to mention whether they could enter the secret domain or not, if the godly mathematician was enraged. Besides the two territory ancestors, who could be his opponent? Not to mention the others, even the two territory ancestors didn't dare to provoke the godly mathematician. Besides the secret domain, the two territory ancestors were also afraid of the godly mathematician. Since the godly mathematician could control the secret domain, it proved his competence. The Jiuzhou continent was divided into 9 provinces: Tianzhou, Earthzhou, Sunzhou, Moonzhou, Sunsetzhou, Cloudzhou, Crimsonzhou, Fantasyzhou, and Black Forestzhou. Tianzhou was where Longao lived, and the Qihua town was an ordinary town in Tianzhou. Because of the rise of Longao, the Qihua town had become famous. Sometimes, people came to visit the Qihua town in Tianzhou. They wanted to see what the legendary Qihua town looked like. When Longao came to the Qihua town, he had driven away all the people there. In other words, Longao was the only one in the Qihua town. Author's note: I'm not looking for excuses. Today, Little Nine didn't finish his task. I'm sorry. Tonight, Little Nine will stay up all night to write 2 chapters. Tomorrow, it will start at dawn. If you can wait, please wait. If you can't wait, you can read it tomorrow. If you want to curse, go to the book review section to vent your anger. Little Nine is shameless. Chapter 1910. Fighting all the powerhouses in the world alone. Long Fu, if I forcibly borrow your strength, what realm can I reach? Deterrence. Longao had already thought about it. As long as he didn't die, he believed that no one would give up. It didn't matter to him, but if something happened to the dragon sect, what would he do? The only way for him to survive was to intimidate all the cultivators in the starry sky in the world. It would be difficult to deter them with his strength alone. After all, many of the starry sky cultivators entering the heaven martial plane this time were powerful starry sky cultivators. Among them, there was no lack of 9th-level starry sky cultivators, and even 2 starry sky domain lords. The only way was to borrow Long Fu's strength. His face was dignified. Long Fu also knew the seriousness of the matter. Master, your strength is too weak. If you forcibly borrow the power of the dragon seal to break through to 9th-level starry sky cultivator, I'm afraid your body won't be able to bear it. If he wanted to deter the world, he had to at least become a 9th-level starry sky cultivator. Could he? The backlash was quite terrifying. This time, the borrowing of power was different from the previous times. Once there was a backlash, Long Fu believed that he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. At that time, his master would really die. Did he have a choice? Unless it was a last resort, Longao absolutely didn't want to borrow the power of the dragon seal. After all, he couldn't bear the backlash. Letting out a deep sigh, Longao said helplessly, Long Fu, I don't need to say more about the seriousness of the matter. I believe you should know that if I don't deter everyone in the world, not only me, but even the dragon sect will be in big trouble. Master, there are 2 Starry Sky Domain Lords among the Starry Sky cultivators who came this time. Even if we can repel everyone this time, there are still more powerful existences on the Outer Sea Island. How could Long Fu not know about Longao's worries? Long Fu, I can't care so much. Tell me first, can I reach the Starry Sky Domain Lord realm with the help of the Dragon Seal? You can't, I'm almost sure of this. But if Master insists, I can help Master break through to 9th level Starry Sky Cultivator at most. A grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator was more than enough. Longao had full confidence that once his cultivation broke through the grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, he would even have the strength to fight against a Starry Sky Domain Lord. What should I do? Master, are you really going to do this? Long Fu was very unwilling, because once his master became like this, it was hard to predict whether it would be a blessing or a curse. Master, the consequences. Before Long Fu could speak, Longao said, Begin. The Scarlet Fire Town was strangely peaceful. Tens of thousands of Starry Sky cultivators all arrived in front of the Scarlet Fire Town, and some directly soared above the Scarlet Fire Town, completely surrounding the Scarlet Fire Town. Everyone fought their own battles. A trifling grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator was nothing in anyone's eyes. That was because among the tens of thousands of people, half of them were Starry Sky cultivators above grade 3. What kind of concept was that? Linghu Chun and Dugu Outyen were the only 2 rulers of the Starry Sky who had come to the Martial Heaven continent. The rest of the peak experts remained in the outer seas, cultivating until the secret realm opened a year later. No one dared to take a step forward. Everyone looked at the 2 rulers of the Starry Sky. No matter where they went, no matter when, the strong ruled the heavens. Brother Dugu, what do you think we should do? Even the 2 rulers of the Starry Sky didn't act rashly because they knew very well that once everyone poured into the Scarlet Fire Town, they wouldn't be able to resist a big battle. A storm of blood and corpses were inevitable. Brother Linghu, Longao has the Shatter the Starry Sky divine ability. I believe you and I know very well what it means. Everyone came here this time just to get this divine ability. Everyone nodded in agreement. In that case, we'll rely on our own abilities. No matter who gets it, the others can't make a move. How about it? Is that possible? Was it possible? It was almost impossible. Even if the 2 rulers of the Starry Sky obtained the Shatter the Starry Sky, the others would snatch it. The temptation of the Shatter the Starry Sky was too great. Otherwise, so many people wouldn't have come to the Scarlet Fire Town for the Shatter the Starry Sky. We'll rely on our own abilities, no matter who gets the Shatter the Starry Sky. Before this person finished speaking, everyone had rushed into the Scarlet Fire Town crazily. They were so fast that everyone was scrambling to be the first, for fear of being delayed. The faster they went, the better their chances. The slower they went, the less chances they had. F***ck after cursing fiercely, Linghu Chun and Dugu Outyen didn't hesitate at all. They directly arranged a powerful air shield around their bodies with the power of their star domain. All the Starry Sky cultivators around them couldn't get close at all. Where was he? They couldn't sense any aura. Everyone was frantically looking for him. No matter how big the Scarlet Fire Town was, it was easy to find a trace of a person with tens of thousands of Starry Sky cultivators pouring in at once. At this moment, in the southwest of the Scarlet Fire Town, a powerful aura suddenly rose from the Long family's courtyard. Sensing this aura, everyone was delighted. Sure enough, the other party was really just a level 3 Starry Sky cultivator. Everyone was pleasantly surprised and rushed towards the direction of the aura. Even if a level 3 Starry Sky cultivator had the Shattering Starry Sky divine ability, he could deal with a level 4 Starry Sky cultivator at most. Once faced with a level 5 Starry Sky cultivator, the other party's Shattering Starry Sky divine ability would be useless. It was difficult to make up for the gap between realms with other things. Outside the Long family's residence, At a glance, there was a sea of people. Starry sky cultivators were everywhere. Standing at the front were the two starry sky domain lords, Dugu Outyin and Ling Huchen. The two looked very dignified because they could sense Longao's calmness. It wasn't like a level 3 starry sky cultivator at all. Facing tens of thousands of starry sky cultivators, he could still be so calm. Did the other party have nothing to fear and didn't put them in his eyes at all? The calmer Longao was, the more the two were afraid. Some were afraid, while others were impulsive. Several figures shot out from behind. All of them were level 4 starry sky cultivators and level 5 starry sky cultivators. There were about a dozen of them. They seemed to be a little impatient and went straight to the gate. The two starry sky domain lords didn't move at all, but the others didn't either. They all wanted to see what kind of background the other party had and how he could still be so calm in front of such a large army. As for the dozens of people who entered first, no one was worried at all. Those who got it first might not have the last laugh. Because of this, everyone stayed where they were. The dozens of people who had just stepped in were just a test. Chapter 1911. In the huge front yard. Longao sat alone in the front yard, looking at the people coming in from the outside with cold eyes. "Are you Longao?" Seeing the other party not speaking, everyone became angry. They had seen arrogant people, but none of them had ever seen such an arrogant person. The other party was just a grade 3 starry sky cultivator, while among the dozens of people, the weakest was a grade 4 starry sky cultivator, with 3 grade 5 starry sky cultivators. Not to mention joining hands, even if any one of them came out, they could easily deal with the other party. "Longao, hand over the broken starry sky, and we can let you go, otherwise, what do you want?" Before the dozens of people could speak, Longao took out a small black seal from his arms. The small black seal had a lifelike dragon engraved on it. What did Longao want to do? Everyone felt a little curious, wondering what Longao wanted to do. In this case, did the other party really want to fight against all of them? It was simply a fool's dream. According to Long Fu's calculations, if he used the power of the dragon seal, he could last for half an hour at most. In other words, he had to deal with everything within half an hour. Otherwise, once the power disappeared, he would suffer a backlash. The consequences would be unimaginable. As for the strength of the backlash, Longao did not care about it. He had to deal with the matter at hand first. The power of the dragon seal instantly entered Longao's body. In just a few seconds, the cultivation of a grade 3 starry sky cultivator directly broke through to a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Grade 9 starry sky cultivator? Sensing the sudden surge in strength, the dozens of people's faces changed and retreated one by one. Before the dozens of people could react, Longao's body had already disappeared. Such a terrifying speed was something they had never seen before. With a teleport, Longao's figure appeared in front of the dozens of people. With a smile, Longao punched out with both fists, one for each person. Under the absolute difference in strength, the dozens of people could not resist at all and fell to the ground under Longao's punches. Screams came one after another. Outside the courtyard, hearing the screams, everyone knew that the dozens of people who had just entered the courtyard had all fallen. Is this true? The dozens of people who had just entered the courtyard were all grade 4 and grade 5 starry skies cultivators. Yet, they still couldn't kill the other party? One had to know that the other party was just a grade 3 starry sky cultivator. Was it because of the shattering of the starry skies? Before they could enter the front yard, Longao's figure appeared. Stepping into the void, he coldly looked at everyone before him. "Are you Longao?" Dugu Outyin and Ling Huchen's expressions changed because Longao was not a level 3 starry sky cultivator at all, but a genuine level 9 starry sky cultivator. Secret technique. Everyone had already guessed that the other party must have used some kind of secret technique to achieve the strength of a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Although this secret technique was powerful, the backlash was also quite terrifying. Even so what? In the eyes of Dugu Outyin and Ling Huchun, even if the other party's cultivation had reached the 9th level of the starry sky, in front of the two of them, he was still inferior to shit. The gap between a grade 9 starry sky cultivator and a starry sky domain lord was huge. Longao, hand over the shattered starry sky and we can leave. Unless it was a last resort, no one was willing to shed all pretense of cordiality because everyone knew very well that if they killed the other party, they wouldn't be able to get the shattered starry sky. Their real purpose was to shatter the starry sky, not to kill Longao. He sneered. You want to shatter the starry sky? Nonsense. Everyone came here this time to shatter the starry sky. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come all the way here with nothing to do. In that case, I'll let you experience the power of shattering the starry sky yourself. What did he mean? Longao stretched out his right hand and gently waved it in front of him. It seemed to be powerless, but then a shocking scene happened. In the space around the crowd, cracks in the starry sky suddenly began to appear. They were so dense that even a blind man could do it. The cracks in the starry sky swallowed many starry sky cultivators directly. Because of their carelessness, all the starry sky cultivators swallowed by the cracks in the starry sky instantly turned into ashes and disappeared without a trace. Even their essence spirits were destroyed. With just a gentle stroke, at least 30 starry sky cultivators fell. Not to mention the others, even Longao himself never thought that his shattering the starry sky would be so powerful. Shattering the starry sky, according to Longao's previous strength, shouldn't be this powerful. However, with the help of the dragon seal, Longao's cultivation broke through from a grade 3 starry sky cultivator to a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Even the power of shattering the starry sky had increased by dozens of times. Seeing this situation, everyone was completely dumbfounded and retreated again and again. Even the 2 starry sky domain lords were shocked. They had already guessed that the power of shattering the starry sky would be powerful, but they never thought that the power of shattering the starry sky would be so terrifying. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would have never believed it. Don't you want to shatter the starry sky? If someone can resist shattering the starry sky, I will teach it to him. Longao stretched out his right hand, but before he could make a stroke, all the starry sky cultivators in front of him retreated in fear. It was ridiculous. Even if Longao's cultivation had risen to a grade 9 starry sky cultivator, he still hadn't reached the level of a starry sky domain lord, let alone facing tens of thousands of starry sky cultivators. Everyone was frightened by Longao alone. Even if this matter spread out, no one would believe it. Shaking his head mockingly, Longao smiled and said, I thought that all the starry sky cultivators who came from the vast starry sky were heroes. It seems that hearing about you is not as good as meeting you in person. Shame. Great shame. Being ridiculed by Longao like this, everyone's faces turned ugly. They obviously felt humiliated, but they couldn't say anything because they were indeed afraid. However, after seeing the terrifying power of shattering the starry sky with their own eyes, it would be a lie to say that they weren't afraid. Longao, do you think you can leave here alive? Can't I? Longao didn't have the slightest worry. Although he could only hold on for half an hour, it was enough for him. Humph, Dugu Outyin and Ling Huchun still didn't put Longao in their eyes. The strength that was enhanced by secret techniques definitely wouldn't last long. As for Longao's shattering the starry sky, as long as they were careful, they would wait until Longao's secret technique was over. Then, the other party would be meat on the chopping board, ready to be slaughtered. Chapter 1912. How could Longao not know what everyone was thinking? He wanted to end the battle quickly. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. Longao could almost be sure that the other party had guessed that he had used a secret technique to force a breakthrough. Although this secret technique was powerful, it could not last for long. After successfully advancing to a grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator, Longao could now use Shattering Starry Sky continuously. Without any hesitation, Longao started to use Shattering Starry Sky directly. Because of the previous lesson, everyone felt very afraid and did not dare to fight head-on with Longao. Starry Sky cracks were invincible. If Longao had used Shattering Starry Sky before, he might not have been able to hurt high-level Starry Sky cultivators. But the situation now was completely different. With his cultivation smoothly advancing to a grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator, Longao used Shattering Starry Sky. Not to mention others, even Starry Sky domain lords would not dare to fight head-on. Everyone present, no matter who it was, would die as long as they were swallowed by the Starry Sky cracks. Everyone flew into the 9 heavens and scattered. Even so, many Starry Sky cultivators were still swallowed by the Starry Sky crack. Shattering Starry Sky could not be used continuously. Otherwise, even if he used the power of the Dragon Seal, it would be a bit overwhelming. With the Samsara sword in hand, Longao used the speed of teleportation to come and go freely. Samsara 10,000 feet rainbow, plus Samsara meteorite explosion. The 10,000 feet sword chi came out so fast that no one could sense Longao's aura fluctuations. After all, the power of teleportation was too strong. Teleportation combined with the 36 Samsara styles was not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. In just a few minutes, millions of Starry Sky cultivators had fallen, including some grade 9 Starry Sky cultivators who had been obliterated by the reincarnation sword chi. Everyone was completely shocked. How could they not be afraid? With Longao's current strength and speed, coupled with his ability to shatter the Starry Sky, he was simply an invincible existence. Not to mention ordinary Starry Sky cultivators, even the 2 Starry Sky domain lords would not dare to confront him head-on. The temptation of shattering Starry Sky was great, but compared to life, it was not enough. No one was not afraid of death. Hundreds of Starry Sky cultivators had fallen, and even their essence spirits were not spared. No one dared to stay. They fled in all directions, taking advantage of the victory to pursue and attack. Longao would not let go of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That was because he couldn't use the power of the Dragon Seal every single time. He didn't know what would happen if he forcefully used it this time. Since that was the case, he might as well thoroughly intimidate them. Longao borrowed the speed of spatial teleportation and his speed soared to an extreme. The Shattering Starry Sky and the Reincarnation Sword Chi killed more and more cultivators in the Starry Sky. It was like it was raining. 300 Starry Sky cultivators had already fallen, but Longao still refused to give up. This time, everyone was completely dumbfounded. Who would dare to stay here? They all wished they could grow 2 more legs and leave this place. Give up just like that? Longao obviously wouldn't. Things had already reached this stage. If he didn't fiercely intimidate them, it would definitely be troublesome in the future. Longao's spatial teleportation soared again. The Reincarnation Sword Chi was like a rainbow piercing the sun. Every time it appeared, it would be accompanied by screams, followed by the death of Starry Sky cultivators. In less than 20 minutes, thousands of Starry Sky cultivators had fallen. Among them, there were 3 level 9 Starry Sky cultivators. What kind of concept was that? Longao didn't continue to chase them because he knew very well that this was his limit. If his cultivation could take another step forward and break through to the Starry Sky Zone Lord, he believed that he could kill at least 2,000 Starry Sky cultivators. If Longao's thoughts were known by others, they might be scared out of their wits. But even so, Longao still refused to give up. Being kind to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. He chased after 2 Starry Sky Zone lords. Longao went to chase after Dugu Aotian and Ling Huchun. Seeing Longao's gradually disappearing figure chasing after the two, everyone stopped running. They were all a little dumbfounded. They had seen crazy people, but they had never seen such a crazy person. Let's go and see. Everyone followed carefully, but the speed of the two sides was too fast. In the blink of an eye, they had disappeared without a trace. Even if they wanted to follow, they couldn't keep up at all. Brother Dugu, what should we do now? The two had never thought that Longao would chase after them so shamelessly. However, after the shock just now, the two didn't dare to stop and fight head-on with Longao. It was a bit of a joke. 2 Starry Sky Zone lords were being chased by a level 9 Starry Sky cultivator, who was actually just a level 3 Starry Sky cultivator. If this spread out, would anyone believe it? The facts were in front of them, and they had to believe it. Longao, the grudges between us are written off. We won't take your shattered Starry Sky anymore, how about it? In this case, the two could only choose to compromise. Although their realms were far above Longao's, they knew very well that according to the other party's speed, they would definitely be caught if they continued like this. When that time came, how could the two of them deal with it? They knew that the other party was so strong because he used a secret technique to forcibly increase his strength. However, the two didn't know how long the other party could maintain it. 10 minutes? 2 hours? Or a day? If it was 2 hours later, then things would be troublesome. Longao didn't speak. While chasing after the two with spatial teleportation, he kept using the reincarnation 36 styles and slashed at the two fiercely. 100 feet long reincarnation sword chi crossed the space. If the two hadn't been fast enough, they would have been swallowed by the sword chi. The two of them were depressed to the extreme. Being chased by a level 3 Starry Sky cultivator was a great humiliation. They didn't dare to stop for a moment because once they stopped, the consequences would be unimaginable. They separated from the left and right. If they didn't separate and hit the target too hard, they might be in danger in the end. In this way, the two of them would have to see whose luck was better. If they were unlucky and were chosen by Longao, then they would have to pray for good luck. At the same time, the two of them kept praying in their hearts, hoping that Longao wouldn't chase after them. Dugu Aotian and Ling Huchun ran while turning around to see who Longao had chosen. Who would Longao choose? In fact, Longao didn't think too much because he only had 10 minutes left. In other words, if he still couldn't kill a Starry Sky Domain Lord within 10 minutes, then he would be the unlucky one. Therefore, Longao randomly chose a person, which was Ling Huchun from yesterday. Seeing Longao chasing in his direction, Ling Huchun cursed fiercely and sped up. As for Dugu Aotian, he let out a long sigh of relief, as if he had walked through the gates of hell. Chapter 1913. Longao, why did you choose me? Ling Huchun was also very depressed. Longao still didn't say anything. In any case, there was only one word, kill. The time he could maintain it was getting shorter and shorter. There were about 7 minutes left. There wasn't much time, so he had to end the battle quickly. Longao's Samsara sword in his right hand kept using Samsara sword chi. As for his left hand, he kept slashing at Ling Huchun. Even Ling Huchun couldn't withstand the double attack. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have come. Not only would he not get the shattered Starry Sky, but he would also pay with his life. Was it worth it? Even if he knew it wasn't worth it, under such circumstances, there was nothing he could do. Let's go all out? Since he was going to die anyway, he might as well fight. Maybe there would be a turn for the better. Thinking of this, Ling Huchun turned around. Just as he was about to counterattack, he was directly swallowed by Longao's space crack. It would be fine if he didn't turn around, but when he turned around, the space crack descended on Ling Huchun's body. His primordial spirit was destroyed without the slightest suspense. Looking at the starry sky zone master who had been swallowed, Longao had no time to continue chasing after the other starry sky zone master. The most important thing now was to find a secluded place as soon as possible. When the time was up, the backlash would also come. In the continent of the 9 provinces, the shocking battle instantly spread throughout the Tianwu continent. Anyone who received the news was shocked. Was this true? Longao, the master of the dragon sect of the Heavenly Tao Alliance, fought against tens of thousands of starry sky cultivators alone. In the end, not only did he scare everyone away, he even hunted down and killed thousands of starry sky cultivators. The most terrifying thing was that Longao not only killed thousands of starry sky cultivators, but also 3 9th-level starry sky cultivators and 1 starry sky zone master. Was this done by Longao? Others might not know Longao's strength. But how could the people of the Tianwu continent not know? How did Longao do it? Was it a secret technique? Longao had used this kind of secret technique before. Otherwise, Longao would have died God knows how many times already. Even so, it was still hard to believe. After this battle, Longao's name spread far and wide. It wasn't just the people of the martial heaven continent. Even the cultivators from outside the starry skies remembered this name, Longao. 9 provinces continent. Inside the nameless cave. Longao had just chosen a secluded cave and had just stepped in. Before he could even ask about Long Fu's situation, he began to faint. Forcibly using the power of the dragon seal, and directly breaking through from a grade 3 starry sky cultivator to a grade 9 starry sky cultivator, one could easily imagine the consequences. Long Fu appeared, but there was another figure beside him. If Longao was awake, he would definitely recognize who this person was. It was the true master of the dragon seal, Longmia. Longao had never known the strength of Dragonslayer, but Longao knew very well that the true owner of this dragon seal was definitely very powerful. Master, Longao won't be able to withstand such a huge amount of power. If you do this, I'm afraid you'll go for wool and come home shorn. Longao. Long Fu called Longao by his name, but called Longmia his master. The meaning was very clear. Long Fu had always believed that he only had one master, and that was Longmia. As for Longao, Longmia's expression was indifferent. After thinking for a while, he said, "If I don't do this, I won't be able to improve Longao's innate ability. Master, do you really want to do this?" Long Fu knew very well what his master meant by doing this. The danger was too great. In Long Fu's view, it wasn't worth it. Longmia shook his head. "I know what I'm doing." Long Fu didn't say much. After all, he was just a servant. The true master was Longmia, not him. From the beginning to the end, Longao didn't know that the reason he could use the power of the dragon seal to become a grade 9 starry sky cultivator was not because of Long Fu's strength, but because of Longmia. Long Fu couldn't do this. Longmia looked at Longao, who was unconscious on the ground, and said, "I don't have much time left. I hope you won't disappoint me. Otherwise..." Longmia didn't continue, but the expression on his face said it all. After an unknown amount of time, Longao, who was lying on the ground, suddenly made a slight sound of pain. He slowly opened his eyes and looked at the dark cave. He was very curious. Did he not die? That shouldn't be. Longao had clearly sensed that death was so close to him. But what was the result? "Master, you're awake?" Long Fu, what happened? Not only did he not suffer from the backlash, but Longao also felt that he was a little different. As for what was different, he couldn't tell for the time being. "Master, you're very lucky this time. I've already used the power of the dragon seal to help you swallow the backlash, but this won't happen again." Long Fu certainly wouldn't tell the truth. As for Longao, he didn't have the slightest doubt. If that was the case, his luck was really good. This time, he had used the power of the dragon seal to not only shock the world, but also kill thousands of Starry Sky cultivators and a Starry Sky domain lord. Such a battle record was enough to look down on the Tianwu continent. Longao knew very well that after this incident, no one would come to provoke him again, unless there was something wrong with their heads, or a super expert above the Starry Sky domain lord level on an island in the outer sea. No matter what, he had killed the Starry Sky domain lord. Would other Starry Sky domain lords dare to come to him? It was almost impossible. Master, do you feel a little different? Yes, it's a little different. Having just woken up, Longao was still in a daze. But after a few minutes, he finally realized why he had felt something was wrong. There was something wrong with his innate divine ability, the dragon roar. It had evolved. That's right, his innate divine ability had evolved. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he really wouldn't have believed that his innate divine ability had evolved. It seemed that not only had he avoided a calamity, but he had even profited from it. Impatiently, Longao left the cave and directly used his innate divine ability, the dragon roar. Innate ability, dragon roar. At the same time as the dragon roar sounded, a huge dragon shadow suddenly appeared behind Longao. He had a feeling that the huge dragon shadow that appeared behind him was real. Although he knew that it was impossible, he could still clearly feel it. Just what was going on? Primordial spirit suppression. Although Longao had leveled up his innate magical ability, he discovered that in addition to being able to freeze space, there was also another magical ability, and that was the absolute suppression of the primordial spirit. It was hard to imagine that after the primordial spirit suppression, wouldn't the other party be like meat on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered? Pleasantly surprised, Longao couldn't wait to find a Starry Sky cultivator to test it out. Chapter 1914. Sky Martial Continent. At the peak of a barren mountain, Su Renfeng and the evil-eye demon dragon stood quietly. Both of them had ugly expressions. They thought that Longao would definitely die this time. After all, tens of thousands of Starry Sky cultivators had killed their way into the Scarlet Fire Town. This terrifying force could completely destroy the entire Sky Martial Continent. But the result? Not only did Longao come out unscathed, but he also killed thousands of Starry Sky cultivators, including the Starry Sky domain lord. They were in despair. Longao could even kill the Starry Sky domain lord, not to mention the two of them. Big Brother Evil Eye, what should we do? What should we do? The Evil Eye Demon Dragon was very unwilling. As a member of the Evil Eye Demon Dragon clan, being humiliated by Longao was simply unbearable. Even though it knew it was no match, the Evil Eye Demon Dragon was still unwilling to give up. If I don't kill Longao, I swear I won't give up. The Evil Eye Demon Dragon and Su Renfeng had already signed a bloodline contract. If the Evil Eye Demon Dragon decided to deal with Longao, then Su Renfeng couldn't not support it. Although Longao is strong, he is still a rank 3 Starry Sky cultivator. It's impossible for him to use secret techniques every time. I don't believe we can't find an opportunity. Could they really find an opportunity? If it was a year ago, Su Renfeng might still be full of confidence. But now, his confidence had been obliterated. Heavenly Tao Union. After 3 days of assassination, the 7 branches had successfully killed a rank 2 Starry Sky cultivator, which could be considered as successfully completing the mission. When Longao stepped into the Heavenly Tao Union, everyone's expression was very unnatural. Everyone had already guessed that Longao was able to kill the Starry Sky domain lord and thousands of Starry Sky cultivators. He must have used a secret technique to increase his strength by so much. There was no need to talk about the backlash. But the result? Longao acted as if nothing had happened. Didn't this mean that Longao could casually use a secret technique to increase his strength? In that case, in the Heavenly Tao Union, other than the 2 Union Masters, who else could be a match for Longao? Although Longao brought back the corpses, no one doubted it. After all, the news of Longao killing thousands of Starry Sky cultivators and a Starry Sky domain lord had spread throughout the Sky Martial continent. He ignored everyone. Longao sat in his seat with a cold expression. There was no expression on Tiandao's face, but there was killing intent in his heart. He had never thought that Longao could do this. He was a little surprised. The more this was the case, the more fearful the Heavenly Tao was. This did not mean that the Heavenly Tao was afraid of the current Longao, but it was afraid of the future Longao. Since Longao was able to kill the Starry Sky Region Lord, didn't that mean that Longao possessed the strength to pose a threat to him? This person had to be eliminated as soon as possible. However, Tiandao didn't act rashly. After all, Longao was someone that Master God Diviner had taken a liking to. If Tiandao killed him openly, Master God Diviner would undoubtedly blame him. Starry Sky Territory Ancestor. Master God Diviner's power was completely and utterly shocking. He had never imagined that not only was Master God Diviner not a Starry Sky Region Lord, but he was actually a Starry Sky Domain Ancestor. Longao, you were too reckless this time. If these people go crazy, the Sky Martial Plane will be plunged into misery and suffering. Just thinking about the wanton actions of tens of thousands of Starry Sky cultivators was terrifying. What was the meaning of this? Longao snorted and indifferently said, "Alliance Master, according to you, if they came to kill me, I should obediently wait for them to kill me?" He was telling the truth. Longao had long since sensed that the Heavenly Daos were targeting him. If he continued to endure, who knew if the Heavenly Daos would continue to go overboard? People were like that. They bullied the weak and feared the strong. If it were before, Longao definitely wouldn't have said anything. After all, the Heavenly Daos power was obvious. But now, Longao didn't want to continue enduring. With the deterrence from before, Longao was practically certain that even the Heaven Tao would absolutely not dare to rashly offend him. As far as the Heaven Tao was concerned, since he was able to kill a Starry Sky Region Lord, then he was absolutely capable of threatening the Heaven Tao. Amazing! Seeing that Longao dared to contradict the Heavenly Daos, everyone felt heartfelt admiration. Other than Master God Diviner, the Heavenly Daos were the true number one expert of the Martial Heaven continent. Given the Heavenly Daos power, who among the people present could be a match for them? Let alone ordinary people, even the other Alliance Master, Long Batian, wouldn't dare say that he was a match for the Heavenly Daos. However, everyone knew that Longao had the qualifications to be arrogant. He had fought tens of thousands of Starry Sky cultivators alone. Not only had he killed over 1,000 of them, but he had also killed a Starry Sky Region Lord and 3 9th-rank cultivators. For Longao to be able to do this, he could definitely threaten the Heavenly Daos. His expression was cold as he said, "From now on, the Dragon Sect is no longer a branch of the Heavenly Tao Alliance. As for the life and death of the Dragon Sect, the Heavenly Tao Alliance will no longer ask. Longao, please." Heavenly Daos. Before Long Batian could speak, the Heavenly Daos continued, "Remember our agreement?" Long Batian sighed deeply inside. He had been preparing for tens of thousands of years, and this was a rare opportunity. He told himself that no matter what, he couldn't easily give up. Longao didn't blame Long Batian. After all, other than his parents, no one would offend the Heavenly Daos for him. Standing up, Longao smiled and left without saying anything. Jian Tian wanted to stand up several times, but in the end, he forcefully held himself back. Jian Tian didn't know what would happen if he left the Heavenly Tao Alliance. The current Tianwu continent was no longer the same as before. There were foreign Starry Sky cultivators everywhere, and each of them was incomparably powerful. Once the Sword Sect left the Heavenly Tao Alliance, would it be able to continue existing? "Brother Long, I'm sorry. Jian Tian felt very guilty, but for the sake of the entire sword sect, he could only make this choice. After leaving the Heavenly Tao Alliance, Longao took a deep breath. Not only did he not feel the slightest fear, he even felt a little comfortable. Although he had already left the Heavenly Tao Union, this was something that Longao had yearned for even in his dreams. If this continued, who knew if the Heavenly Tao would turn him into cannon fodder? Under such circumstances, it was better to rely on himself. As for the sword sect, Longao was more or less unhappy. But that was understandable. Jian Tian also had his own difficulties. Longao decided that if anything happened to the sword sect in the future, he wouldn't do anything. As the saying goes, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Longao didn't plan on returning to the massacre abyss. Returning to the sect at this time wasn't a wise move. After all, with what had happened before and the shattering of the starry sky, he believed that many people were guarding the massacre abyss. If he returned now, he would only implicate the sect. Even if he had already intimidated everyone, Longao was certain that the remaining starry sky cultivators wouldn't let this matter rest. They might even attract the starry sky cultivators who had stayed on the outer islands. Chapter 1915. Longao was very clear. The true starry sky experts did not step into the sky martial continent, they all stayed in the outer sea islands. Once these experts stepped into the sky martial continent and attacked him, things would be troublesome. Longao would not have the slightest bit of worry if it was just him. The only thing he was worried about was his family and sect. What if something happened to someone? Longao did not dare to imagine, but things had already come to this point. He had to continue. Otherwise, things would become even more unfavorable for him. Big brother, I know you have your difficulties. Sensing Long Batian chasing behind him, Longao sighed deeply in his heart. Longao was very clear that the reason why Long Batian had been enduring was definitely related to the Starry Sky Secret Realm. According to his information, in the Starry Sky Secret Realm, there were greater opportunities in the higher space. Now, whether it was Tian Dao or Long Batian, their cultivation had already broken through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord. If they wanted to continue to improve, they would have to enter the higher space of the Starry Sky Secret Realm. Because of this, he would not blame Long Batian. He could not completely fall out with Tian Dao for him. Follow me. He shrugged helplessly. Longao followed Long Batian and quickly disappeared into the horizon. Just as the two of them left, Tian Dao's figure suddenly appeared and coldly looked at the two of them. In a valley with a very good environment. Brother Long, please sit. Smiling, Longao did not stand on ceremony and directly sat down. Brother Long, do you know why Tian Dao is targeting you? Divine Mathematician and the Starry Sky Secret Realm? Longao already had some guesses in his heart, but he did not dare to be sure. Because other than this, he really could not think of any other reason that would make Tian Dao dislike him so much. That's right, it's Divine Mathematician and the Starry Sky Secret Realm. As expected, Brother Long, you have been chosen by Divine Mathematician. If nothing unexpected happens, after a year, when the calamity is over, you can enter the Starry Sky Secret Realm and search for great opportunities with us. There was not the slightest bit of happiness. Although the Starry Sky Secret Realm had great opportunities, danger also existed. The slightest carelessness would lead to eternal damnation. We can search for our own opportunities, why can't Tian Dao? He was very puzzled. There were too many opportunities in the Starry Sky Mystic Realm. It wasn't like one person could find all of them. Long Batian smiled helplessly and said, the Heaven's path is very ambitious. He doesn't want anyone to be stronger than him. If it weren't for the oracle, I'm sure he would have killed me. It was indeed troublesome. If one's cultivation could break through the grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator, or even become a starry sky domain lord, then one could completely ignore the heavenly Tao. But now, the situation was a little different. It was impossible for him to borrow the power of the dragon seal every single time. There was bound to be a failure. Long Fu could help him once, but could he help him twice? 3 times? Or even 4 times? It was simply impossible. The heavenly Tao was afraid of him because he had killed thousands of starry sky cultivators, including the starry sky domain lord. Otherwise, the heavenly Tao would have gone even further. Just like this time. If it weren't for his intimidation, would he have simply been chased out of the heavenly law union? Definitely not. The heavenly Tao would definitely use this opportunity to deal with him and his sect. It seemed that he had taken the right step. Seemingly able to guess Longao's thoughts, Long Batian said, "Brother Long, the heavenly Tao will not let this go. Especially with the deterrence you showed this time, the heavenly Tao is more afraid than envious. Apart from the heavenly Tao, who else would not be afraid? A grade 3 starry sky cultivator could use a secret technique to kill the starry sky domain lord and thousands of starry sky cultivators. No wonder the heavenly Tao was afraid. How should he deal with it? Big brother, do you have a way?" Longao knew very well that if he didn't have a way to deal with the heavenly Tao, Long Batian would not have chased him out. Because in Long Batian's view, he did not help him. As Longao guessed, Long Batian did have a way. He nodded and said, "Brother Long, according to my guess, the reason why the heavenly Tao chased you out of the heavenly Tao union this time is to use external forces to deal with you." And Longao had already guessed this point. The heavenly Tao's intention was clear. With your shattering starry sky, plus your secret technique, and the rumors you are about to spread, I believe that countless starry sky cultivators, including those above the starry sky domain lord level, will rush over. The secret technique can be used once, but I believe that it can't be used continuously. Otherwise, you will be in big trouble. Longao did not speak, because what Long Batian said was true. Looking at the expression on Longao's face, Long Batian already knew that his guess was right. Although Longao's secret technique could temporarily boost his strength, it had backlashes and drawback. Moreover, it could not be used continuously. In this case, with Longao's current strength, not to mention starry sky cultivators above the starry sky domain lord level, even a grade 4 starry sky cultivator would be difficult for Longao to deal with. Big brother, do you have any ideas? Brother Long, I know that you are worried about the dragon sect. Although you and Brother Funtian have arranged a formation in the Massacre Abyss, with your level of formation, the formation can only trap starry sky cultivators below grade 5 at most. In this case, the Massacre Abyss will be in danger at any time. Longao nodded. As Long Batian said, the Massacre Abyss was what he was most worried about. He could not return to the Massacre Abyss. In this case, if powerful starry sky cultivators attacked the Massacre Abyss, what should he do? Longao's face slowly turned ugly, because his family and sect were his bottom line. However, if something happened to his sect, what was the use of killing everyone? Brother Long, I have a way to help the Massacre Abyss. Tell me. Longao was overjoyed when he heard that Long Batian had a way. He could not wait to ask. After thinking for a while, Long Batian said, "Longao, you can go to the divine mathematician. As long as he is willing to help, no one can enter the Massacre Abyss. However, it depends on whether the divine mathematician is willing to help you." Would the divine mathematician be willing to help him? Longao did not have the slightest confidence. Although the divine mathematician had taken a liking to him and had promised that he would be able to enter a higher space in a year, that did not mean that the divine mathematician would definitely help him. He roughly understood Long Batian's meaning, but thinking about it, in this Tianwu plane, only the divine mathematician could help him. Even Long Batian could not. Long Batian was only a starry sky ruler. Perhaps he was very powerful in the Tianwu continent, but in the entire starry sky, a starry sky ruler could only be considered a powerhouse. Author's note: the second chapter has been delivered. Although Little Nine has started a new book, this book will not slow down. Everyone can monitor it. Brothers, go collect the new book Myriad World Divine Emperor. Chapter 1916. He wasn't 100% sure that Master Godly Mathematician would help him. However, Longao was prepared for the worst. If Master Godly Mathematician didn't help him, he would have to think of a way to prevent an accident from happening. Brother Long, since Master Godly Mathematician has taken a fancy to you and allowed you to enter the Star's secret realm, he will help you if there are no accidents. I understand. Longao and Long Batian talked about the future. Then, Longao got up and left. Outer Sea. Crystal Palace. Master Godly Mathematician, I want to ask you for a favor. Longao went straight to the point without hesitation because he didn't like to be indecisive, not to mention the Master Godly Mathematician in front of him. Tell me. The Divine Mathematician had a smile on his face. All this time, the Divine Mathematician had treated Longao well. Because of this catastrophe, countless cultivators have entered the Sky Martial Realm. You want me to seal the massacre abyss? That's right. Master Godly Mathematician had already guessed it, but it wasn't hard to guess. No problem. Huh? Longao was a little surprised when he heard Master Godly Mathematician say no problem. He never thought that Master Godly Mathematician would agree so quickly. However, Longao wasn't happy at all because he knew that there was no free lunch in this world. Longao didn't say anything because he wanted to see what Master Godly Mathematician wanted. As expected. Longao, I can help you seal the massacre abyss. Not to mention the Starry Sky Domain Emperor, even the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor can't enter the massacre abyss. However, you have to agree to one of my conditions. How about it? There was no such thing as a free lunch. Please say it. Longao had thought it through. No matter what it was, he would agree to it. With Master Godly Mathematician's strength, he believed that the seal he set up could stop any cultivator from entering. Longao already knew that above the Starry Sky Domain Emperor, there were powerful Starry Sky Territory Ancestors. Whether it was the Starry Sky Territory Kings, Starry Sky Territory Emperors, or even the Territory Ancestors, any one of them could easily slaughter the entire slaughter abyss. Longao, go to a place now and help me find something. As long as you can obtain this item, I can promise you that from now on, the massacre abyss will be safe and sound. All right? Since things had already come to this, how could he not agree? An hour later, Longao left the Crystal Palace. He didn't return to the Martial Heaven continent. Instead, he went straight to the Northern Plains continent. The Martial Heaven continent was divided into 5 continents. The Eastern Prefecture continent, the Western Region continent, the Southern Sea continent, the Northern Plains continent, and the Central Martial Heaven continent. Longao had never been to the Northern Plains before. However, of the 5 major continents, the Martial Heaven continent should be the strongest. As for the Western Region continent, the Northern Plains continent, and the Eastern Plains continent, they were the weakest. Northern Plains continent. The grassland stretched as far as the eye could see, and large tribes were everywhere. The warriors of the Northern Plains continent might not be as strong as the warriors of the Martial Heaven continent, but the ordinary people of the Northern Plains continent were stronger than the ordinary people of the other continents. It was rumored that the people of the Northern Plains continent were valiant. The item that the Divine Mathematician wanted was in the grassland. The Northern Plains continent's strongest sect was the Northern Plains sect. It was not weaker than the 10 cardinal sects. However, the Northern Plains sect had never left the Northern Plains continent. Furthermore, because it was located in the Northern Plains continent, the martial heaven continent had gradually forgotten about it. Now that he had broken through to the starry sky realm, it was easy for him to enter the Northern Plains sect without being discovered. The master of the Northern Plains sect was a Nirvana rebirth warrior. However, in front of a starry sky realm cultivator, a Nirvana rebirth warrior wasn't enough. Behind the Northern Plains sect, there was a huge forest with towering trees everywhere. It's hard to imagine that there are starry sky divine beasts here. If the divine mathematician hadn't told him, Longao wouldn't have known that the origin continent had starry sky divine beasts. It was really a place with hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Before, everyone had thought that the martial heaven continent had no other starry sky divine beasts other than the divine mathematician and the heavenly Taoist. Now it seemed that the martial heaven continent definitely had starry sky divine beasts. It was just that those starry sky divine beasts and starry sky divine beasts had hidden themselves. With the divine mathematician's warning, Longao moved cautiously. However, there was one thing that Longao didn't understand. Why hadn't the divine mathematician come personally? After all, with the divine mathematician's power, let alone the martial heaven continent, even in the entire starry sky, no one could stop him. He could go wherever he wanted and he could take whatever he wanted. Without the divine mathematician telling him, there was no way for him to know the reason. Longao only knew one thing, and that was that as long as he obtained this item, the divine mathematician would help him seal the slaughter abyss. At that time, he would be able to sit back and relax, no longer having to worry about the slaughter abyss being dangerous. Following the divine mathematician's directions, Longao arrived at the center of the forest. There was a towering tree that was countless times thicker than the other trees. Helplessly shaking his head, Longao bitterly smiled. If the divine mathematician hadn't told him the exact location of this hidden passage, he really wouldn't have known. Taking out a token, he gently placed it on the tree. The token suddenly erupted with a strange energy that enveloped the entire tree. Before Longao could react, a ray of white light shot out of the tree and enveloped him. He disappeared. In the next second, Longao appeared in a huge space with some unknown objects floating around him. Someone can break into my space. Just at this moment, a voice rang out and a figure appeared. A 9th-rank starry sky divine beast. This was also the most powerful starry sky spirit beast that Longao had ever seen. According to the divine mathematician, the starry sky spirit beast in front of him was a star wolf. Its speed and attack were both very powerful. Among the grade 9 starry sky cultivators, star wolves were the most powerful existences. The main body hadn't died. That was what Longao was most afraid of. He had already decided that if he couldn't do anything, he would use the dragon seal's power once more. No matter what happened, he had to take that item. Otherwise, the slaughter abyss would be in great trouble. Senior Star Wolf, I didn't mean to offend you. I came here mainly to ask for your help. You know me? Star Wolf was startled to see that Long Churn had come prepared. This space had been sealed by him. Other than the God Diviner and the Heavenly Daos, no one else on the martial heaven continent could break the seal and enter. Even Long Batian wouldn't be able to do that. Chapter 1917. Who are you? I'm Longao. He didn't know if a battle would break out. He didn't know anything about Star Wolf. Let's get straight to the point. Why are you here? Star Wolf didn't ask any more questions. He seemed a little impatient. Senior Star Wolf, I only have one purpose. I hope you can hand over the little Star Wolf. He cursed the marvelous mathematician in his heart. How could he do such a thing? The little Star Wolf was Star Wolf's son. If he wanted to take the little Star Wolf away, would Star Wolf agree? Sure enough. Hearing that Longao wanted to take his son away, Star Wolf's face darkened. A terrifying murderous aura burst out from his body. You're courting death. Star Wolf didn't say anything and attacked directly. In Star Wolf's eyes, the opponent was just a level 3 Starry Sky cultivator. He didn't need to use his real body to deal with the opponent. But the result? How could Longao not know the difference in strength between him and the opponent? If he wanted to fight Star Wolf head-on, he would have to use the power of the Dragon Seal. However, his luck wouldn't be good every time. Unless it was a last resort, Longao would never do that. He swung his hand at Star Wolf. Star Wolf, who had rushed over, suddenly changed his face. He turned around abruptly. The space crack that appeared was like a tsunami with howling winds. Space crack? You can break the space? Looking at everything before him, Star Wolf had a look of disbelief. In his perception, not to mention a level 3 Starry Sky cultivator, even a Starry Sky territory ancestor couldn't do that. He had never seen anyone break the space. The space crack was the nemesis of all Starry Sky cultivators. No matter who it was, as long as they were swallowed by the space crack, they would die. It was a well-known fact in the vast Starry Sky. Star Wolf couldn't figure out how the other party could break the space crack. How did the other party do it? Kid, do you think you can take my son away just because you can break the space? Longao was depressed. If the marvelous mathematician hadn't asked him to do that, he wouldn't have been so free. However, the marvelous mathematician had said that he couldn't tell anyone about this. For the massacre abyss, for his family, for his sect, and for his family, he had to do it. Senior, please help me. I'll fulfill your wish, my ass. Star Wolf was completely enraged. The other party was simply going too far. Could it be that he wanted to take away his child just by shattering the Starry Sky? In Star Wolf's opinion, the gap between a Grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator and a Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator was just too big. They were simply not on the same level. One word: kill. Star Wolf's speed was extremely fast. However, just as Star Wolf was about to close in and attack, a shocking scene appeared. Longao, who was still there just now, suddenly disappeared. Even his afterimage could not be seen. Was this kind of speed possible? Star Wolf was unwilling to believe it. He seemed to have thought of something, and his expression changed greatly. He had already guessed that the speed the other party had used just now was not speed at all, but the legendary spatial teleportation. Shattering the Starry Sky, coupled with spatial teleportation. No wonder the other party was so confident and fearless. It turned out that he had something to rely on. Thinking of this, Star Wolf suddenly laughed. Longao, do you think you're a match for me? The Star Wolf's true form appeared. It was over 3 meters long, and its entire body was covered with beautiful patterns. Longao knew very well that Star Wolf's strength was far superior to his human form. Just relying on spatial teleportation was not enough to compete with Star Wolf. As for shattering the Starry Sky, it was also impossible. In this case, not to mention taking away the other party's child, whether he could leave this place alive was a big problem. He could not use the power of the Dragon Seal. Last time, Long Fu had helped him swallow the backlash. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Until now, Longao still did not know that he had arranged for dragon extinguishing, not Long Fu. Long Fu did not have that kind of strength. He kept retreating. The next second, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Longao. It was none other than the Grade 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave. In this case, if he did not use the power of the Dragon Seal, he could only use the power of the Grade 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave. Even if the divine mathematician found out, he had no other choice. As for the excuse, Longao had already thought it through. If nothing unexpected happened, the divine mathematician would not pursue this matter. He did not even care about shattering the Starry Sky, let alone a Grade 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave. Not to mention a Grade 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave, even a Starry Sky Domain Emperor or a Starry Sky Domain Emperor would not be put in his eyes. After all, the divine mathematician was already a starry sky domain ancestor. A grade 8 starry sky cultivator? Looking at the grade 8 starry sky cultivator in front of him, Star Wolf was a little surprised. However, even so, the gap between a grade 8 starry sky cultivator and a grade 9 starry sky cultivator was not small. However, when the fight started, Star Wolf instantly realized that something was wrong. The grade 8 starry sky soul slave had an immortal body. No matter how he attacked, the other party seemed to be fine. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have believed that a grade 8 starry sky cultivator's physical defense could be so monstrous. Star Wolf was very confident in his attacking power, but the result was still like this. However, Star Wolf's attacks did not stop at all. Instead, they became denser and denser. Even so, the grade 8 starry sky soul slave still could not care less. If it were a starry sky domain lord, the grade 8 starry sky soul slave might have been killed. However, it was impossible for a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Longao knew that he could not intervene in the fight. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Longao started to look for the little star wolf. After all, his goal was to find the little star wolf, not to kill the big star wolf. Longao, how dare you! Seeing the other party preparing to leave, Star Wolf instantly guessed what the other party wanted to do. If not for this starry sky cultivator, even if Longao could break through the starry skies and teleport through space, he would not be afraid. Only this grade 8 starry sky cultivator was fighting him. This did not mean that the grade 8 starry sky cultivator in front of him was very strong, but that this person's physical defense was too monstrous. Even with his attacking power, he could not break through the other party's physical defense. If this continued, the other party would not be able to kill him, and he would not be able to kill the other party. However, the other party could still entangle him, which was the biggest problem. Once he got entangled, Longao could go look for his child. The consequences would be unimaginable. Ignoring Star Wolf's roar, Longao quickly moved forward. P.S. I really admire some people. This is already the 4th chapter. I got up this morning and did not rest. 4 chapters from the old book, 3 chapters from the new book, and 6 chapters from the old book in the afternoon and evening. This is Little Nine's limit. If you still think it's too slow, then Little Nine can only do so. Today, try to burst out with 10 chapters. Chapter 1918. Looking at Longao, who had already disappeared, Star Wolf completely panicked. Level 8 Starry Sky soul slaves were not afraid of fighting. They only had one purpose, which was to pester the Star Wolf. After leaving, Longao took out the token given to him by the marvelous mathematician and released his aura, trying to locate the Star Wolf. The marvelous mathematician did not come personally, but asked him to do it for a level 9 Starry Sky divine beast. There must be something fishy going on. There was no other way. In order to borrow the power of the marvelous mathematician to seal the massacre abyss, no matter how unwilling he had to do it. Found it? He was overjoyed. The token given to him by the marvelous mathematician was indeed effective. In just a few minutes, he had already located the Star Wolf. Without the slightest hesitation, Longao quickly headed to the left. About 2 minutes later, a Star Wolf half the size of a human appeared in front of Longao. It seemed to be seriously injured and was lying on the ground. Woo 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 woo. Seeing Longao, the Star Wolf looked at him vigilantly. It tried to stand up and leave, but it could not move at all. He came to the Star Wolf and squatted down. Level 1 Starry Sky Divine Beast. Its primordial spirit is seriously injured. After checking the Star Wolf's injuries, Longao was surprised. In this enclosed space, who could hurt the little Star Wolf? Was there someone else in this space? Thinking of this, Longao gently picked up the Star Wolf. It was too big and it was not comfortable to hold it, Little guy, try to shrink the body. I will take you to find your mother now. The star wolf seemed to understand Longao's words. It said vigilantly, don't lie to me. A starry sky divine beast could speak and even transform into a human. Do I need to lie to you? The star wolf felt that it was right. If the opponent really wanted to kill it, would it be able to resist? Not to mention that it was seriously injured now, even at its peak, it might not be a match for this human in front of it. The star wolf's body kept shrinking until it was 3 times smaller. In this way, it was very comfortable for Longao to hold. They returned to the battlefield. Giving the order to the Class 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave to stop, the Class 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave obediently retreated. However, it still stood beside Longao. Longao, let go of my child. Looking at the child in the human's arms, the Star Wolf panicked. Star Wolf, I don't have any ill intentions. I've come here to take your child away. However, I can guarantee that nothing will happen to your child. What do you think? No. How could Star Wolf agree? What a joke. You have no other choice. Longao didn't threaten him. He just quietly held the little guy in his arms. Little Star Wolf seemed to be able to sense its threat. It did not move or speak. I can agree to any request you have. I only beg you to let my child go. Returning to his human form, Star Wolf immediately knelt down. A grade 9 starry sky god beast kneeling on the ground shocked Longao to the core. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't moved. His expression turned ugly. Was he going to hurt an innocent person for the sake of his family? Star Wolf was also a mother, and he also had a mother. If he was caught, how would his mother feel? In the end, with a deep sigh, Longao slowly walked over and gently handed the little guy to Star Wolf. He said helplessly, I was forced to do this. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done this. Your child is seriously injured. If he isn't treated in time, I'm afraid something bad will happen. Longao had already thought it through. He wanted to advance and retreat together with the sect. Even if he faced danger, so what? For himself, for the sect, he had to sacrifice the little guy. There was also a mother who lost her child. He really couldn't do it. Thank you. If you believe me, I can help you save your child. If it was before, Star Wolf definitely wouldn't choose to believe him. However, Star Wolf gently put down his child, nodded and said, I'm free. Longao had already thought of a way to save him. The little guy's primordial spirit was seriously injured. The only way to save him was to borrow Long Fu's power. Longao certainly wouldn't tell Star Wolf how to save him. With a flash, the little guy had already disappeared, which gave Star Wolf a fright. However, he didn't ask further because he didn't know why he trusted the young man in front of him. Give me 2 hours. With that, Longao's figure disappeared as well. In the dragon seal space. Long Fu, are you sure you can save the little guy? Long Fu had just sent a voice transmission to Longao with his spiritual senses, saying that he could borrow the power of the dragon seal to save Xiaojiaju. Longao had never doubted Long Fu. Even if he didn't take Xiaojiaju away, he was prepared to save Xiaojiaju before leaving this space. Master, Star Wolf's primordial spirit will be fully recovered in 2 hours. Sorry to trouble you. Longao didn't continue to disturb Long Fu. Instead, he went to the side and sat down quietly. While waiting for 2 hours, Longao was a little absent-minded. He was now thinking about Bai Ling, Xiling, and Long Ming who had already left, as well as Aoshue and Yu Yin who had stayed in the massacre abyss. At the same time, he also thought about his parents, grandfather, brother, siblings, and friends. Although his journey had been difficult and full of danger, he had also given his family a backer. However, he didn't expect that a catastrophe would befall him. He had painstakingly experienced life and death situations and thought that he was already standing at the peak of martial arts. However, he didn't expect that he was just a frog at the bottom of a well. There was still a long way to go. 2 hours later. Seeing Longao carrying the recovered child out, Star Wolf was pleasantly surprised and thanked him profusely. "It's okay, Senior Star Wolf. Longao, if you don't mind, you can call me Auntie Shueyu." Star Wolf had lived for many years, so it was not a loss to call her Auntie. Longao smiled and said, "Auntie Shueyu, is there anyone else in this space besides you and your child?" "Yes, this space is full of starry sky cultivators. If you don't have anything else to do, you can leave first." Otherwise, Shueyu didn't finish her words, but the meaning in her words was very clear. Longao was not surprised at all because he could sense that something was wrong with this space. Not only that, if there were no other starry sky cultivators, the little guy would not have been so seriously injured. It was obvious that the other party must be very powerful. Otherwise, with Auntie Shueyu's strength as a level 9 starry sky divine beast, how could she hurt her child? Could it be the starry sky domain lord? "Auntie Shueyu, tell me the truth. Is the person who hurt the little guy the starry sky domain lord?" "Why do you need to know?" Shueyu sighed deeply, obviously not wanting to say more. Chapter 1919. "If you don't tell me, I will not leave." With a deep sigh, Shueyu looked at the child beside her and said helplessly, "Longao, the one who hurt my child is a grade 9 starry sky cultivator called Tianyu, our big brother." It turned out, in this space, there were 3 star wolves, Tianyu, Huiyu and Shueyu. Tianyu and Huiyu both liked Shueyu and pursued her at the same time. Unfortunately, Shueyu only liked Huiyu. The final result could be imagined. Huiyu and Shueyu ended up together, but Tianyu was not convinced. His love turned into hatred and he chased after the two for many years. Just 3 months ago, Tianyu defeated Huiyu and Shueyu, seriously injured the life essence spirit of the little star wolf. Not only did he take Huiyu away, but he also threatened to take Shueyu as his wife. If Shueyu did not agree, he would kill Huiyu directly. So that was it. He cursed in his heart. "Aunt Shueyu, let me help you with this." "No need, you should leave this place quickly." How could Longao not know what Shueyu meant? He was just a grade 3 starry sky cultivator, while Tianyu was a peak grade 9 starry sky god beast, half a step into the starry sky domain lord realm. Such a super powerhouse, not to mention himself. Even if Huiyu and Shueyu joined forces, they would not be a match for Tianyu. However, Longao did not feel the slightest bit of fear. If he had not used the grade 8 starry sky god beast before, he certainly would not have had the slightest confidence to deal with a peak grade 9 starry sky god beast. But now, the situation was completely different. Since he had used the grade 8 starry sky god beast, there was no need to hide it anymore. Looking at the grade 8 starry sky god beast beside him, Longao said, "Aunt Shueyu, I believe you have seen the power of my starry sky god beast. As long as the other party is not the so-called starry sky domain lord, I have a way to deal with him." Shueyu did not speak. She had personally experienced the power of the grade 8 starry sky god beast, and it was indeed terrifying. This did not mean that the grade 8 starry sky god beast was strong, but the defensive power of the grade 8 starry sky god beast's body. Thinking about it, to save her father, Shueyu could only agree. "Thank you." Longao didn't want to waste time either. After settling the little fellow down, he followed Shueyu all the way to search for the so-called heavenly moon. In the deep valley, black fog lingered all around. "Longao, be careful. Tianyu is very powerful, especially here. Wait for me." Longao was prepared to enter the Omphalos alone. The reason was simple. He believed that Tianyu was well aware of Shueyu's aura. Once Shueyu stepped into the Omphalos, she would definitely be discovered by Tianyu. Those who dare to trespass into the Sky Moon Valley will be killed without mercy. In this case, the three of them would be in an invincible position. Huiyu, Shuiyu, so it was you guys who played tricks. Good, very good. Without needing to ask, Tianyu instantly understood what had happened. He just did not expect that Shuiyu could find such a troublesome starry sky cultivator. But even so what? A Class 8 starry sky cultivator would always be a Class 8 starry sky cultivator. Even if their physical defense was strong, they would not be his opponent, unless the other party was a Class 9 starry sky cultivator. But was that even possible? It was an impossible thing. Big brother, the grudge between you and me ends here. I don't want to pursue it any further. Dream on, you snatched Shuiyu. What a hypocrite. If I let you go, how could I face myself? Tianyu smiled without the slightest fear. Since the strength of these four people was not his opponent, why would he choose to compromise? Without waiting for Huiyu to speak, Longao, who had not spoken until now, suddenly spoke up. Why dilly-dally, let's fight? Longao had a general understanding of Tianyu's character. He was a person who would not give up until he reached his goal. Was it useful to talk reason with such a person? Since it was useless, why talk nonsense? Let's just start the fight. When Tianyu lost, the initiative would be in their hand. Huiyu also seemed to understand this. The next second, the Class 8 Starry Sky Spirit Slave rushed out. Huiyu and Shuiyu also rushed out. With the three of them joining hands, it was a completely different concept. P.S. The 6th chapter has been delivered. If you have time, please help to collect Little Nine's new book, Myriad Worlds God Emperor. Please, we are forced by life and have no choice. Please understand. Chapter 1920. If it was an ordinary Grade 8 Starry Sky cultivator, it would not have played any role in the battle. But now? A Grade 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave, whose strength was not enough to compete with a Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator, had an abnormal physical defense. Even if Tianyu's cultivation had reached Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator, he could not completely destroy a Grade 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave. The division of labor was clear. The Grade 8 Starry Sky Soul Slave directly entangled Tianyu, while Huiyu and Shuiyu attacked from both sides. According to this situation, Tianyu would die without a doubt. But what was the result? Perhaps Huiyu and Shuiyu could not bear to kill him. The two of them attacked for dozens of minutes, but still could not kill Tianyu. Not far away, Longao felt helpless. Being kind to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. Since the two of them could not do it, he would have to do it for them. Teleport through space. Longao's body instantly disappeared. In order to kill him in one shot, Longao directly used the reincarnation Heavenly Eye, the so-called Essence Spirit attack. At the same time, Longao also slashed out with the reincarnation sword in his hand. If it was a one-on-one fight, Longao would definitely not be Tianyu's opponent, but the current situation was completely different. Tianyu was tightly entangled by the three people and did not pay attention to Longao. As a result, Longao took advantage of the situation, using the Essence Spirit attack and teleport through space, to kill him in one shot. The reincarnation sword chi instantly cut through Tianyu's body. Without giving Huiyu and Shuiyu any chance to react, Tianyu died, and even his essence spirit was swallowed up by the sword chi. Dead? Looking at the corpse on the ground, Longao did not refine it into a corpse slave. In any case, Tianyu was their big brother, and he could not be so unkind. Many thanks. With Tianyu dead, the two of them did not continue to argue. Longao, I want to ask, who sent you? Longao had promised the divine mathematician that he would not speak of this matter, but he still felt that something was wrong. The strongest person in the continent? On the surface, the strongest person on the martial heaven continent was the heavenly Dao. But how could Huiyu and Shuiyu not know who Longao was referring to? We don't know why, Yangqi said. Longao, Master God Diviner, created this dimension specifically to seal us away. I really don't know why he sent you in here. Was it just for the little guy? Neither side believed the divine mathematician, nor did they know what the divine mathematician was planning. Master God Diviner had created his own dimension, which meant that Master God Diviner was the master of this dimension. Since that was the case, why would he do something that Master God Diviner could have done? He could not figure it out. He didn't continue to dwell on it. Longao didn't want to stay any longer, so he turned around and left. One day later. Outer Sea, Crystal Cave. Master God Diviner wasn't the least bit surprised that Longao hadn't completed his mission. Instead, a look of praise appeared on his face. Smiling, Master God Diviner said, "You've done well. I'm very pleased." What did that mean? Longao was a bit bewildered by Master God Diviner's words. According to normal circumstances, he shouldn't have been able to complete his mission. But according to Master God Diviner, he had completed his mission. What did that mean? Senior God Diviner, I really don't understand. This time, I sent you into that dimension not to let you take the little star wolf, but to test you. I trust that you already know that I created that dimension on my own. I am the master of that dimension. Test? This was just a test? Temperament. You also know what to do and what not to do. You didn't lose yourself because of my threat and the sect's safety. That I admire. Longao, I trust that you already know that I chose you, the heavenly Daos, and Long Batian to be my successor. Their temperaments are inferior to yours. Successor? Longao didn't say anything because he didn't know what to say. Longao, I've sealed the slaughtering abyss. Even the territory ancestors of the starry sky can't get in there. However, you can't get in there for 1 year, either. Although this calamity is full of dangers, it's full of opportunities. You can take this chance to train yourself. As it had come to this, what else could he say? I got it. You have a level 8 starry sky soul slave to help you. Even a level 9 starry sky cultivator can't do anything to you. As for the higher level starry sky cultivators, you have to deal with them by yourself. I won't help you. Sure, Yen sighed inwardly. How could he deal with them? He could deal with the starry sky cultivators under level 9. But how could he deal with the starry sky cultivators above the starry sky master realm? Facing such experts, he didn't need to fight them. He could just turn around and leave. Otherwise, he would suffer losses. You can go now. Longao didn't want to stay here. He turned around and left. This time it was really a pain in the ass. Anyway, he was lucky that the slaughtering abyss was sealed. Within 1 year, the sect would be safe. He could finally exhale in relief. Longao had just left when Tian Dao's figure appeared. His face was extremely gloomy. Although he didn't know what the two of them had just said, Longao's arrival this time had caused him a lot of trouble. Divine mathematician, it's not fair. I've been with you for so many years. You've agreed to let me inherit your legacy. But what happened? It's been delayed again and again. I don't know how long I have to wait. Tian Dao was upset. For so many years, he had been tricked by the divine mathematician again and again. He couldn't wait any longer. If it continued like this, when would it come to an end? The divine mathematician smiled and said indifferently, "It's not the right time yet. I've said that I'll give you my legacy, so I will. You don't have to rush." Tian Dao cursed inwardly, but he didn't dare to say anything. If that's the case, why are you still looking for Longao? Tian Dao didn't place Longao in his eyes, but he was afraid of him. Ignoring his talent and potential, just his cultivation speed and divine abilities were enough to make him wary. I have my own plans. There's no need for you to ask. With that, the divine mathematician took out 2 starry sky godheads and said, "Your cultivation speed is too slow." Here are 2 starry sky domain emperor godheads. You and Longao can have one each. Remember, don't do anything to Longao. Don't challenge my bottom line. Otherwise, I'll strip you of your right to inherit my legacy." Tian Dao didn't doubt the divine mathematician's words. He took the 2 starry sky godheads and left. Before long, he was gone. "It's not the right time yet. Even I don't know when this will end. When will you appear? I've been waiting for you for countless years." The divine mathematician looked helpless. He had been guarding this place for countless years, and even now, he couldn't leave. Other than him, he couldn't tell anyone about this. Chapter 1921. In the past, even if there was a domain emperor's godhead, the heavenly Tao wouldn't have swallowed it. But now, the situation was different. With the arrival of the calamity, countless cultivators had entered the heaven martial world. If it were just ordinary cultivators, it would be fine. Unfortunately, there were starry sky territory emperors, and even 2 territory ancestors in the starry sky territory. With their current strength, it was impossible to stop these super experts. Swallow? Or not? After much consideration, the heavenly Tao chose to swallow the domain emperor's godhead. As for Long Batian, there was no suspense. According to normal circumstances, even if they could swallow the domain emperor's godhead, it would take them several years to break through to the domain emperor's realm. But the result? The godhead's master god diviner had given Huang Xiaolong, and Huang Xiaolong had already been refined. This way, the speed at which they absorbed and refined the domain emperor's godhead had increased by several hundred times. Originally, it would have taken them several years, but now it only took them several days. They were no longer domain emperors. From now on, whether it was the heavenly Tao or Long Batian, they were genuine domain emperors. In other words, among the several 100,000 cultivators who had entered the heaven martial continent, other than the 2 domain ancestors who could suppress them, the rest, including the 6 domain emperors, couldn't suppress the 2 of them. Because of this, Long Batian were confident that the 2 domain ancestors would be restrained by the divine mathematician. With their strength, they believed that no one would dare to provoke them. They only had one mission, and that was to protect the heaven martial continent. As for the heavenly Tao, he wouldn't give up so easily. Even if he couldn't deal with Longao himself, he could borrow a knife to kill him. Just as Longao had guessed, the news had spread to the islands in the outer sea. Many people rushed to the heaven martial continent the moment they heard the words "shatter the starry sky." Such a temptation, not to mention ordinary people, even the domain ancestors couldn't resist. With such a heaven-defying ability, they could kill enemies above their realm. It could be said that in a battle between 2 domain emperors, the domain emperor with the ability to shatter the starry sky could kill the other domain emperor in seconds. Of the hundreds of thousands of cultivators in the starry skies, 98% of them left the outer islands and rushed to the so-called sky martial continent. The remaining 2% were either Grade 1 starry sky cultivators or Grade 2 starry sky cultivators. Knowing that they had no chance, why would they choose to sacrifice themselves in vain? The news that Longao had single-handedly killed over 1,000 cultivators, including a starry sky domain lord, had already spread throughout the continent. He was very shocked. In addition to spatial teleportation and shattering starry skies, many people coveted Longao's secret technique. Using a secret technique to forcibly increase one's strength without any backlash, such a heaven-defying spirit technique wasn't inferior to shattering the starry skies. But you have to know, Longao was only a Grade 3 starry sky cultivator, yet he could use a secret technique to kill thousands of starry sky cultivators, 3 Grade 9 starry sky cultivators, and a starry sky domain lord. Such a secret technique, anyone could imagine how terrifying it was. Apart from that, there was another rumor. Longao's spatial teleportation, shattering starry sky, and secret techniques to increase his strength all came from the star secret realm. Now, everyone was looking forward to entering the starry sky's secret realm. When Longao received the news, he smiled begrudgingly. It was simply nonsense. Before entering the star's secret realm, he had already used spatial teleportation. Perhaps many people in the Sky Martial continent knew about it. It seemed like someone wanted to borrow his knife to kill. He did have a lot of enemies. Outside the massacre abyss, countless starry sky cultivators were preparing to enter the massacre abyss. Many of them believed that as long as they could control Longao's family, Longao would hand them over. And the result? No matter who it was, even if they joined hands to attack the entrance of the massacre abyss, they couldn't break the seal. Hong Lin and Qi Tian grimaced because they could clearly feel that the seal outside the massacre abyss was set up by the Starry Sky Territory ancestors. Ordinary people couldn't break the seal. Hong Ji, why don't you join hands with me? Okay. Hong Lin Territory ancestor and Qi Tian Territory ancestor had joined hand. If the two territory ancestors of the Starry Sky Territory ancestor joined hands, it would be easy to break the territory ancestor's seal. However, the seal wasn't damaged at all. Even the two Starry Sky Territory ancestors couldn't break it? Seeing this situation, everyone was dumbfounded. Was it the divine mathematician? Everybody, including the two Starry Sky Territory ancestors and the 6 Starry Sky Territory emperors, had guessed that the one who had set up the seal at the entrance of the massacre abyss was the divine mathematician. In the entire Sky Martial continent, the divine mathematician was the only Starry Sky Territory ancestor. Although I don't want to admit it, I have to admit that the divine mathematician is stronger than you and me. He's at the peak of Territory ancestor realm. Even if we join hands, we won't be his match. Hong Lin nodded in agreement. Before they had entered the Sky Martial plane, the two of them were full of confidence. Even if they couldn't defeat the divine mathematician alone, once they joined hands, they could sweep the entire Sky Martial plane. They didn't even put the divine mathematician in their eyes. In the test just now, the two of them were shocked to find that the strength of the marvelous mathematician was far above them. It was as difficult as ascending to the sky to break the seal with their strength. It was like a fool's dream. Since it was impossible, it was useless to stay here. It was better to find the trace of Longao. The two Starry Sky Territory ancestors exchanged looks, and then turned around to leave. They didn't talk nonsense, which made people around bewildered. Why didn't they continue to try? Some people knew that the two Starry Sky Territory ancestors couldn't break the seal, so they didn't want to waste time here. If the two territory ancestors had left, what was the point of staying here? After the two territory ancestors had left, the people around slowly retreated. The sea of people that had just been there was empty in just a blink of an eye. Far from them, Longao had always been there. Although the divine mathematician was strong, he couldn't put his mind at ease as he hadn't seen him with his own eyes. Moreover, there were two territory ancestors of the Starry Sky among the warriors who came this time, which was what Longao was worried about. As he had seen it with his own eyes, he exhaled in relief. It seemed like the divine mathematician's competence was much higher than the two territory ancestors. Otherwise, he couldn't have resisted the joint attack of the two territory ancestors. Author's note: the 8th chapter has been delivered. I am indeed a little tired today, so I will make up for the remaining 2 chapters tomorrow. There will be 5 chapters tomorrow, so there will be a total of 7 chapters. Everyone, please stop scolding me. Little Nine is also human and has not rested for even a moment. You all only need a few minutes to read a chapter, but Little Nine has to write for 1 to 2 hours. Chapter 1922. The divine mathematician's seal was still there. Longao was clear that even he couldn't step into the slaughter abyss. Next, he would have to deal with all the cultivators in the universe. The Starry Sky secret domain would open in a year, which meant he had to hold on for a whole year. Longao was ready to counterattack. However, his strength alone wasn't enough. Even if he used the strength of a rank 8 soul slave, he could only fight against a rank 9 cultivator. Cultivators above the Starry Sky domain lord rank were no match for him. This was the absolute suppression of strength. Longao's method was simple, a tooth for a tooth. His target was the Heavenly Tao Union and the Heavenly Tao. The day passed slowly and dusk arrived. Suddenly, a piece of news spread from the Sky Martial continent, a piece of shocking news. Longao's shattering Starry Sky, teleportation, and other techniques were all taken away by the Heavenly Tao. Not only that, Longao had been killed by the Heavenly Tao. As soon as the news spread, everyone's spearhead was pointed at the Heavenly Tao, the so-called Heavenly Tao Union. No one dared to act rashly because the Heavenly Tao was no longer the same as before. For some unknown reason, the Heavenly Tao had broken through from a Starry Sky domain lord to a Starry Sky domain emperor in less than 10 days. Even devouring a Starry Sky domain emperor's godhead wasn't as fast as this. How did the Heavenly Tao do it? 2 Starry Sky domain ancestors and 6 Starry Sky domain emperors rushed to the Heavenly Tao Union. As for the others, they followed. Even if they couldn't obtain these heaven-defying techniques, they could still watch a good show. Heavenly Tao Peak, in the 9 heavens void. Looking at the dense crowd in front of him, the Heavenly Tao felt helpless. Long Batian was very dissatisfied with the actions of the Heavenly Tao, so today's matter, Long Batian directly stood aside and did not even appear. The Heavenly Tao wasn't afraid of the 6 Starry Sky domain emperors. The only ones he was wary of were the 2 Starry Sky domain ancestors, Hong Lin and Qi Tian. Heavenly Tao, hand over the things and we'll leave. What things? Asking the obvious. Qi Tian and Hong Lin were unwilling to provoke the Heavenly Tao unless they had no other choice. Everyone knew that the Heavenly Tao was the Divine Mathematician's subordinate, and they knew the Divine Mathematician's true strength. How could they casually provoke the Divine Mathematician? However, the 2 of them were not to be trifled with. Although they didn't want to provoke Master God Diviner, they were determined to get what Longao possessed. Heavenly Tao, are you provoking us? He cursed in his heart. Until now, the Heavenly Tao was still a little depressed, wondering who was the one who started the rumor. Did he kill Longao? What a joke. Sirs, there is no need for the 2 of you to lie when you have reached our level of cultivation. Longao was not killed by me, and I have never seen him. Not long ago, I expelled him from the Heavenly Law Alliance, and everyone knows that. The 2 of them didn't care about Longao's life at all. The only thing between the 2 of them was the treasures on Longao's body. Whether it was the shattering Starry Sky secret technique or the spatial teleportation, they were all things that every Starry Sky cultivator dreamed of obtaining. It was precisely because of this. Hong Lin and Qi Tian territory ancestor had decided that even if they had to offend the Divine Mathematician, they had to take those supernatural powers. Heavenly Tao, it seems you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. The 2 of them took a step forward. Their meaning was clear. As long as the Heavenly Tao didn't agree to hand over the treasures, the 2 of them would attack immediately. With their strength, it would be easy for them to kill the Heavenly Tao. The Heavenly Tao's face was gloomy, as ugly as it could get. Sirs, don't go too far. A battle was about to break out. Right at this moment, Master God Diviner's figure suddenly appeared. He said indifferently, Sirs, you're both territory ancestors of the Starry Sky. It's not nice to bully my people like this. Master God Diviner, we're already giving you face by not attacking the Sky Martial continent. Do you want to interfere in this matter? It was very depressing. If it were a few days ago, Even if the two of them encountered the God Diviner, they wouldn't have the slightest fear. Instead, they would have joined hands to attack because they knew that once they killed the God Diviner, they would truly control the Starry Sky's secret realm. But now they didn't have the slightest bit of confidence. Not to mention whether or not they could kill the God Diviner, just the seal that the God Diviner had set up couldn't be broken even if they joined hands. This in itself was enough to show how strong the opponent was. It would be a lie to say that they weren't afraid of him. If it were something else, since the God Diviner had shown up, the two of them would definitely leave. However, when they thought about breaking the Starry Sky, teleporting, and the secret technique that could increase their strength, they decided that no matter what happened, they wouldn't leave. Truth be told, the two of them were still hoping to get lucky. If they could acquire a secret magic that could increase their power without any backlash, then they could easily take care of Master God Diviner on their own, let alone working together. You two don't want to leave? Domineering. The God Diviner looked indifferent, but no one dared to look down on him. After all, even in the vast starry sky, the God Diviner was an illustrious existence. Adding the seal that he had set up, everyone understood his power. A territory ancestor at the peak of the starry sky was a supreme existence. With just a flick of his finger, he could turn this place into a river of blood. Attack. Compared to being passive, it was better to strike first. Both Hong Lin and Qi Tian territory ancestor dashed toward the God Diviner. After reaching the starry sky territory ancestor realm, they could start to understand the power of the star boundary. At the peak of the starry sky territory ancestor realm, they could control some of the power of the star boundary. However, everyone knew that if they didn't try, they would never get the secret technique to break the starry sky or increase their strength. The God Diviner was fighting 1 against 2. In just a blink of an eye, the three of them had engaged in a fierce battle. The onlookers retreated. Anyway, the battle between the territory ancestor realm experts wasn't something they could endure. If they got involved, no one would care if they were killed. The two of them didn't have much confidence. After dozens of attacks, the God Diviner had forced them to retreat. Their faces darkened. Gritting their teeth, they turned around and left. "Thank you." The God Diviner didn't answer. He took a step forward and disappeared. As he had forced the two territory ancestors to retreat in 10 attacks, it proved how strong the God Diviner was. The onlookers couldn't do anything about it. After all, the God Diviner was so strong. However, they understood that the God Diviner would only show up when the two territory ancestors took action. If it were someone else, the God Diviner wouldn't ask. Actually, the God Diviner's intention was simple: they shouldn't bully the weak. Heavenly path, it's not nice for you to enjoy it alone. Can you share it with us? Chapter 1923. The marvelous mathematician had left, and his intention was clear. The 6 starry sky region emperors were Yebu Domain Emperor, Ouyang Tua Domain Emperor, Feng Xiong Domain Emperor, Lin Yi Domain Emperor, Li Mei Domain Emperor, and Yi Bai Domain Emperor. The 6 of them were eyeing him covetously. Even if the heavenly Tao was powerful, could the heavenly Tao withstand a 1 versus 6 battle? With just you. The heavenly Tao was afraid of the 2 starry sky territory ancestors, but was it also afraid of the 6 starry sky region emperors? However, after thinking about it, it was obvious that someone wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. If he really fought with the 6 starry sky region emperors, wouldn't he fall into a trap? Thinking of this, 6 of you, I just said that I didn't kill Longao, and I can be sure that Longao is not dead. I can make a blood oath here. If it weren't for the special period, the heavenly Tao would not do this. Seeing that the heavenly Tao really made a blood oath, the 6 looked at each other. Did the heavenly Tao really not kill Longao? It was still the same sentence. They didn't care about Longao's life at all. What the 6 starry sky region emperors really cared about was Longao's things. The heavenly Tao, we will reluctantly believe you this time. If we find out that you deliberately lied to us in the future, we will kill you without mercy. Since the heavenly Tao didn't kill Longao, there was no point in staying. When the 6 turned and left, the others didn't stay either. It was crowded just now, but in the blink of an eye, the outside of the heavenly Tao peak was silent. At the top of a mountain, Hong Lin and Qi Tian stood at the top of the mountain at the same time, looking at the endless void in the distance. Brother Hong, what do you think of the marvelous mathematician's strength? When they had fought Master God Diviner, the two of them had been able to sense how powerful he was. They didn't know why, but they had a feeling that if Master God Diviner had wanted to, he could have easily killed them. Hong Lin sighed deeply and said helplessly, I've sensed it, and I'm sure you've sensed it too. The Oracle has not only grasped the basics of astral power. According to my guess, the Oracle has already truly grasped the astral power if nothing unexpected happens. What should we do? Don't try to provoke Master God Diviner. We are no match for him. All we have to do is wait a year. Once we enter the Starry Sky secret realm and obtain a great opportunity, I believe we will be strong enough to deal with him. Even if there was endless unwillingness in his heart, he could only do so in this situation. Who is it? The two of them suddenly turned around and looked in front of them in surprise. To be able to hide for such a long time, one could only imagine how powerful the other party was. Grade 3 Starry Sky Cultivator. Looking at the young man who had suddenly appeared, both Hong Lin and Qi Tian were surprised, because the two of them never thought that the other party, a mere Grade 3 Starry Sky Cultivator, could hide his aura for so long. It was truly unbelievable. Who are you? He was just a Grade 3 Starry Sky Cultivator, yet he dared to come here without fear. If the other party did not have a screw loose, then he definitely had something to rely on. Longao? Longao? The young man in front of him was actually Longao? The two of them seemed to be in disbelief. After all, according to the rumors, Longao had already been killed by the heavenly Tao. Since that was the case, why would he appear in front of the two of them? It did not matter if they did not believe it, as long as they tried it, they would believe it. With a chuckle, Longao gently drew a line in the air towards the two of them. A shocking scene occurred. In the space not far away, a starry sky crack instantly appeared, emitting a black aura that devoured everything. It was a terrifying sight. A starry sky crack, not only in the sky Martial continent, but even in the entire vast starry sky. There were only a few people who could do this. Especially in the sky Martial continent, there was no one who could do this. Even the divine mathematician could not do this. Sure enough, it was Longao. Hong Lin and Qi Tian looked at each other and saw a trace of surprise in each other's eyes. It was really a case of wearing out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it without any effort. They thought that Longao had been killed by the heavenly Tao, and the heavenly Tao had the divine mathematician as its backer. It was almost impossible for the two of them to obtain the shattered starry sky. However, they did not expect that the other party would take the initiative to deliver it to them. Longao, aren't you afraid that we will deal with you by doing this? I am. Since you're afraid, why did you appear? The two of them were curious. Longao clearly knew that they would be in great danger if they appeared. So why had he still appeared? The more he was afraid, the more they didn't dare to act rashly. The two of you came to the Sky Martial Plane this time because you want to enter the Starry Sky secret realm, right? Do you have a way to enter the Starry Sky secret realm? No. The two of them were infuriated. If it weren't for Longao's confidence, they would have already attacked. Longao smiled and said, I only have one purpose for coming here this time. As long as the two of you are willing to help me, I will promise to give the two of you something. I can guarantee that you will definitely not refuse. Longao, if we kill you, then all the secrets on your body will belong to us. What do you say? They didn't show the slightest fear. Longao continued to smile. If you're confident, try it. Before the two of them could speak, Longao continued, I, Longao, started from the Red Fire Town. Along the way, countless people wanted to kill me. At that time, I was just a great Emperor Realm cultivator, but there were already Nirvana Realm cultivators who wanted to kill me. Do you know what the result was? The two of them didn't speak, but their faces were extremely ugly. Because even if Longao didn't say anything, they had already guessed something. In fact, if the other party didn't have any strength, how could he have broken the starry sky and teleported? No matter when, not only have I survived, but I've also stepped on all those who tried to deal with me. The two of you are no exception. If you don't promise me, we'll become enemies. Although I'm not your opponent now, I firmly believe that one day, I'll trample you under my feet. Do you believe me? Do you believe it? The two of them certainly didn't believe it. They would lose face if they were threatened by a third-grade starry sky cultivator, but they didn't know why they felt that what Longao said was true. Tell us your conditions and what you want to give us, and we will give you an answer. If the other party's offer was tempting enough, they might as well give it a try. If it was breaking the starry sky or a secret technique to improve their strength, the two of them would be more than willing to accept it. Once their strength improved with the help of a secret technique, they would have absolute confidence in dealing with the divine mathematician. At that time, not to mention entering the Starry Sky Secret Realm, even controlling the Starry Sky Secret Realm wouldn't be a problem. Longao smiled. He had full confidence that the other party would definitely make a choice. The calmer he was, the more the two of them feared him. Chapter 1924. I only have one request. Deal with the Heavenly Tao. Longao had thought it through. The Heavenly Tao would always be a scourge if he didn't get rid of him. Since that was the case, it was better to strike first than wait for the Heavenly Tao to deal with him. However, Longao had self-awareness. Just based on his own strength, it was simply impossible to be a match for Heavenly Tao. In the past, he could use the Dragon Seal's power to deal with the Heavenly Tao. At worst, he would take another risk. As long as he could kill the Heavenly Tao, it would be worth it. But now, the situation was completely different. The Heavenly Tao had already devoured the Starry Sky Domain Emperor's godhead, and his cultivation base had smoothly reached the Starry Sky Domain Emperor's level. In the Sky Martial Continent, the Heavenly Tao was the strongest besides the Starry Sky Domain ancestors. Could he defeat the Heavenly Tao alone? That was the case. Longao was prepared to use the two Starry Sky Domain ancestors' power to deal with the Heavenly Tao. Even if the Heavenly Tao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to resist the two Starry Sky Domain ancestors. Longao, we can't do it. The two Starry Sky Domain ancestors refused without even thinking about it. If it had been anything else, they might have considered it, but this was a joke. The Heavenly Tao was under the godly mathematician's protection. If they killed the Heavenly Tao, they wouldn't be able to explain it to the godly mathematician. Not to mention whether they could enter the Starry Sky Secret Realm or not. The godly mathematician's strength alone was enough for them to defeat him even if they joined forces. Longao, I believe you've heard of the godly mathematician's strength. We don't think we're his match. How could Longao not know about this? He hadn't expected the godly mathematician to suddenly appear. Otherwise, he would definitely be able to kill the Heavenly Tao with a borrowed knife. What did the godly mathematician mean? Longao was very clear that the godly mathematician and the Heavenly Tao weren't on the same level. As long as the godly mathematician wanted to, he could kill the Heavenly Tao at any time. However, the godly mathematician hadn't touched the Heavenly Tao after so many years. Under normal circumstances, The two starry sky domain rulers wouldn't dare to touch the heavenly Tao. They weren't afraid of the heavenly Tao, but the godly mathematician. Sirs, I have a way. There's a way? The two of them were very surprised. They did not know what method could deal with the heavenly Tao. Your things? Since that was the case, the two of them didn't continue to refuse because they really wanted to see what the other party was talking about and why he was so confident. Gentlemen, what I'm talking about is that when we enter the Star's secret land in a year's time, I will do my best to help you obtain the opportunity. Hearing those words, the two of them were furious. Brat, are you playing with us? Being played like that, how could the two territory ancestors of the starry sky not be enraged? Why would the two of them need help in the starry sky's secret realm? What a joke! I don't think the two of you have entered the starry sky's secret realm before. I believe the two of you know that I personally entered the starry sky's secret realm a year ago and successfully passed the test to leave. He was not surprised at all. In their opinion, not only had the other party entered the starry sky's secret realm, but he had also obtained the secret technique to shatter the starry sky and improve his strength from the starry sky's secret realm. Because of this, the two of them were looking forward to entering the starry sky's secret realm. Even so, they didn't need the other party's help. As if he could read their minds, Longao smiled and said, "The starry sky's secret realm is full of dangers. I've just multiplied the universe, and the first 3 spaces have already had second-level and third-level starry sky cultivators. It's hard to imagine what kind of dangers there are in the 4th space and beyond. I'm almost sure that once you enter the starry sky's secret realm, you will die for sure. With our competence." He waved his hand. Without giving the two of them a chance to talk, Longao continued, "Don't tell us how strong you are. If you don't believe me, you'll know 1 year later when you enter the starry sky secret realm." Longao was a little impatient. "Don't try to kill me. Even if you're territory ancestors of the starry sky secret realm, you're not qualified to do so in my eyes. If you don't believe me, I can give you a chance. If you can hurt or capture me within 1 month, I'll admit defeat. At that time, not only will I hand my life to you, but I'll also give you the opportunity to shatter the starry sky." "Ha ha, kid, you're too arrogant." Both of them burst out laughing. They had seen arrogant people before, but they had never seen such an arrogant person. If the other party was a territory ancestor of the starry sky, it would be fine. However, the problem was that the other party was just a 3rd-level starry sky cultivator. The two of them took a step forward, ready to take the other party down. From the beginning to the end, they didn't believe the other party's nonsense. Enter the starry sky secret realm to help them? Instead of waiting for 1 year, they would rather kill the other party now and get the starry sky secret technique and the starry sky secret realm. Then, once they improved their competence, would they still need to enter the starry sky secret realm? At that time, the entire starry sky secret realm would be theirs. The two of them were full of confidence. After all, the other party was just a 3rd-level starry sky cultivator. If they couldn't catch the other party even if they joined hands, they could just kill themselves. But what was the result? Longao's figure suddenly disappeared. That's right, he disappeared just like that for no reason. The two of them stared straight ahead. Their faces were filled with ignorance. They didn't know what was going on at all. Because the two of them had full confidence that with the two of them working together, it was impossible for the other party to escape. No wonder this person was so fearless. It turned out that he really had something to rely on. The two of them clenched their fists, anger and shock written all over their faces. No matter how they thought about it, they still couldn't figure out how the other party had done it. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would have found it hard to believe. How did he do it? Who knows? Since he's not dead, our only choice is to find him. After killing him, We'll take the Starry Sky secret technique and the Starry Sky secret technique. Then, with the two of us working together, the divine mathematician won't be our match. At that time, let alone entering the Starry Sky secret realm, even controlling the entire Starry Sky secret realm won't be difficult. At this point, we don't have a choice. However, in the Sky Martial continent, even you and I can't find Longao's trace in a short time. Why don't we borrow everyone's strength? What do you think? Hong Lin thought for a while and then agreed. Thus, the two of them issued a kill order. No matter who it was, as long as they could find Longao's trace and send it back, they would receive the Starry Sky Domain Emperor's godhead and a favor from the two territory ancestors. A Starry Sky Domain Emperor's godhead and a favor from the two territory ancestors. What did it mean? Chapter 1925. Longao wasn't dead yet? Not only that, but the two territory ancestors had issued a kill order. What had happened? However, the Starry Sky Domain Emperor's godhead and the favor of the two territory ancestors were enough to drive everyone crazy. Without a doubt, everyone began to search for Longao's whereabouts. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators spread out to search for him. Even so, the martial heaven continent was boundless. Wanting to find a single person's trail in such a short time was definitely not an easy task. The heavenly Tao had also received the news. Although there was no definite news, the heavenly Tao was certain that the person who wanted to kill him was Longao. Not only others, but even the heavenly Tao Peaks people were searching for Longao's whereabouts. There was no need for the heavenly Tao to say anything as the heavenly Tao Peaks people had already started to move. Whether it was the Starry Sky Domain Emperor's godhead or the favor of the two territory ancestors, both were extremely tempting. Heavenly Tao Union Longao had snuck into the Heavenly Tao Union alone like a ghost. Now that the massacre abyss had been sealed by the divine mathematician, no matter how dangerous it was, it wouldn't affect the sect. It could be considered a blessing in disguise. This time, Longao had come to the Heavenly Tao Union to find one person. The Heavenly Tao, Longao, you're really here. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Looking at Longao, who had suddenly appeared in front of him, the Heavenly Tao wasn't surprised at all. It was as if he had already guessed that Longao would come. Heavenly Tao, we can settle the grudge between us today. Settle the grudge? The Heavenly Tao laughed. Even if Longao's talent and potential weren't bad, and he was chosen by the divine mathematician, so what? If it had been before, the Heavenly Tao Peak would have been afraid of the other party. After all, the other party could use a secret technique to kill the Starry Sky Domain Lord. But now, did he still need to be afraid? The Starry Sky Domain Lord and the Starry Sky Domain Emperor were two different concepts. Just based on you? Based on what? Based on this. Longao used all his strength to draw 4 strokes in the air. 4 terrifying space cracks appeared. The Heavenly Tao, who was in extreme danger just a moment ago, instantly turned cold when he saw the 4 spatial rifts appear. He knew very well that even though his cultivation had reached the Starry Sky Domain Emperor realm, he still couldn't resist the Starry Sky Rift. It would be fine if he didn't get devoured, but what if he got devoured by the Starry Sky Rift? Cracks in the starry skies were known as the nemesis of Starry Skies cultivators. Longao, what do you want? Tian Dao, you and I have no enmity between us. It's just that you've been targeting me and not letting me go. If I didn't retaliate, I'm afraid I would be dead by now. You mean to admit that you were the one who did all that? Master God Diviner's face grew darker and darker. Being schemed against by a grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator, if this matter spread out, where would his face go? Such a thing had not happened in 10,000 years. At the end of the day, the other party didn't take him seriously at all. It was as if he couldn't tolerate it. Since you've already guessed it, why ask me? As expected. Although Tian Dao had already guessed it, he was still a little unsure. After all, no one had dared to provoke him for so many years. Not to mention a puny grade 3 starry sky cultivator, even Long Batian didn't dare to provoke him at will. Looking at the other party coldly, Tian Dao said coldly, Longao, you're playing with fire. This time, I'm not here to dawdle with you. Let's get straight to the point. Since you and I both want to get rid of each other, then from now on, you and I will rely on our own abilities to see who is better. Tian Dao smiled mockingly. What was wrong with this world? Could it be that the other party could be so arrogant just because he was chosen by Master God Diviner? The forbidden power of the starry sky domain directly descended. Tian Dao was full of confidence. In front of him, the other party was nothing but trash. As long as he wanted to, he could kill the other party anytime and anywhere. But could he? Absolutely not. He hadn't entered the starry sky secret realm yet. If he killed Longao, wouldn't he never be able to enter the starry sky secret realm? Previously, the divine mathematician had warned him that he absolutely couldn't touch Longao. Otherwise, not only would he not be able to enter the starry sky secret realm, but he also wouldn't be able to inherit the inheritance. He really couldn't afford such a loss. Longao didn't move at all. He didn't show the slightest fear. Longao, are you really not afraid that I'll kill you? I'm afraid. Longao smiled and said, Of course I'm afraid, but I know that you don't dare to kill me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have used a borrowed knife to kill me. With your strength, killing me is as easy as flipping a hand. Longao had already guessed this point. Tian Dao had already become a starry sky domain emperor. If he wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. However, Tian Dao didn't do so. Instead, he used a borrowed knife to kill him. With Tian Dao's strength, was there a need to do this? There was no need. The only explanation was that Tian Dao didn't dare to kill him. As for the reason, it couldn't be more simple. It was because of the divine mathematician. Other than the divine mathematician, Tian Dao couldn't think of anyone else in the martial heaven continent who could suppress the heavenly Dao. It was precisely because he had guessed this point that Longao had dared to swagger over. Otherwise, even if he had 10 times the guts, he wouldn't have dared to court death like this. Tian Dao's expression grew darker and darker. Since Longao had guessed it, then he couldn't attack. He didn't care about Longao's life or death. The only thing he cared about was entering the starry sky secret realm and inheriting the divine mathematician's inheritance. Endure. Longao, your guess is correct. Back then, the divine mathematician didn't let me deal with you, but that doesn't mean I can always endure you. If you don't want to die, then starting now, you'd best not provoke me. As for your secrets, I don't want to ask about them. I don't want to interfere, and I won't snatch them from you. Cram as far as you can. Shattering the starry sky, spatial teleportation, and even secret arts that could increase one's strength weren't rare to the heavenly Daos. If he could obtain the divine mathematician's inheritance and gain control of the starry sky secret realm, then dominating the starry sky wouldn't be a problem. As for those things that Longao possessed, they weren't even worth a fart in front of the inheritance and the starry sky secret realm. The more the heavenly Daos acted like this, the more certain Longao was that the heavenly Daos didn't dare to attack him because of the divine mathematician. Delighted, he said indifferently, Heavenly Daos, since you don't dare to kill me, then I'll take my leave. Remember, don't think about attacking me, or I won't let you off. After saying that, Longao turned and left. A threat, a blatant threat. Someone actually dared to threaten him. Suddenly, a smile appeared on the gloomy face of the heavenly Daos, because Longao was just bluffing. Chapter 1926. In the eyes of the heavenly Tao, Longao came here without fear. He must have guessed that the heavenly Tao didn't dare to kill him. If that was the case, the heavenly Tao didn't need to worry. Because the more Longao acted like this, the more uncertain he was. He was afraid that the heavenly Tao wouldn't care about the divine mathematician's deterrence and attack. Longao, one day, I will kill you with my own hands. After leaving the heavenly Tao peak, Longao began to hunt down the people who were looking for him. Being kind to the enemy was being cruel to yourself. Longao wouldn't be merciful. Since everyone wanted to deal with him, why should he be polite? If he was alone, he could at most kill the starry sky cultivators below level 4. As for the starry sky cultivators above level 5, he couldn't deal with them. However, Longao wasn't worried at all. The reason was simple. He had the help of a level 8 starry sky soul slave. Level 8 starry sky soul slave, even a level 9 starry sky cultivator wouldn't be put in his eyes. However, to avoid trouble, Longao didn't plan to deal with the starry sky cultivators above level 9. His target was the starry sky cultivators below level 8. He wanted to end the battle quickly. One was to obey the order, and that was to be fast enough. There were hundreds of thousands of starry sky cultivators. Even if Longao killed more than 10,000 of them, no one would care. The number was too big. Longao had decided to kill the starry sky cultivators and take the starry sky godheads. After all, these so-called starry sky godheads were too important to the sect. The more starry sky godheads, the better. This way, the sect would have more starry sky cultivators in the future. The catastrophe was definitely a disaster for the Sky Martial continent. However, if he grasped it well, the disaster might become an opportunity. Anyway, the slaughter abyss had been sealed by the divine mathematician. No one, including the 2 starry sky territory ancestors, could enter easily. In this case, he didn't have to worry about anything. We've been searching for 3 days, but we still haven't found Longao's trace. Because of the restriction, we can't release our aura to lock on. It's really troublesome. Everyone was depressed to the extreme. If it was an ordinary middle-grade plane, not to mention a high-level starry sky cultivator, even a level 1 starry sky cultivator could do it easily. But now? Since Master Divine Mathematician had restricted the Heaven Martial Plane, no one, not even the 2 territory ancestors, could release their auras to lock them. The Sky Martial continent was boundless. It was a pain in the ass to search for a single person in a sea of people. In the night, all 3 of them were grade 6 starry skies cultivators and had a good relationship with each other back in the vast starry skies. This time, they had entered the Sky Martial Plane to enter the Starry Sky secret territory. They had never thought that there would be such an opportunity. Star Domain Emperor Godhead? A favor from the 2 territory ancestors? As long as the 3 of them could obtain it, just thinking about it made them extremely excited. Longao is really speechless. He doesn't know how to hide his wealth. I don't know if his brain is flooded with water. Cut the crap. Let's hurry up and continue searching, lest others beat us to it. Are you looking for me? He was startled by the sudden appearance of the black figure. Grade 3 Starry Sky Cultivator? The 3 of them laughed. One of them asked, "Who are you?" Longao. For a moment, the 3 of them did not react. When the 3 of them finally reacted, they were overjoyed. The person they were looking for was Longao. They had worn out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find him without any effort. Ha 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 ha, the heavens are helping us. To think that we would meet Longao here. Wahahaha, perhaps it was because they were too excited, but the 3 of them did not expect the other party to appear out of nowhere. But that was how humans were, bullying the weak and fearing the strong. Sensing that the other party was a grade 3 Starry Sky cultivator, they had long forgotten who their parents were. In the next second, the 3 of them, who were laughing maniacally, suddenly saw the young man in front of them disappear. The three of them were curious, but more than that, they were shocked. They did not know how the other party did it. End the battle quickly. There was not the slightest bit of sloppiness. The three of you reap what you sow. As soon as Longao's voice came, a terrifying starry sky domain descended, covering the three of them. Starry sky domain. Grade 8 starry sky cultivator. Feeling the suppression of the other party's starry sky domain, the three of them were shocked to the extreme. Because only starry sky cultivators who had broken through to grade 8 and above could possess a starry sky domain. In other words, since the other party could release the starry sky domain, if there was no accident, the other party was at least a grade 8 starry sky cultivator. Longao, we beg you. Since things had come to this point, how could Longao choose to give up on the three of them so easily? When the grade 8 starry sky soul slave appeared, the three of them did not even have the slightest power to resist before they were killed by the grade 8 starry sky soul slave. Once a starry sky cultivator died, as long as the primordial spirit was not destroyed, it would slowly transform into a starry sky godhead. However, there was another possibility, that was, another starry sky cultivator could directly refine it into a starry sky godhead. Longao did not have the time to refine it. After all, refining a starry sky godhead was very taxing. Moreover, with his strength, refining a grade 4 starry sky godhead would be even more difficult. Without a doubt, this matter was directly handed over to Long Fu. Although the dragon seal had not recovered, Long Fu had a way to refine the primordial spirit into a starry sky godhead in the shortest time possible. However, just after killing the 3 starry sky cultivators, Long Fu appeared and said directly, "Master, I have something to discuss with you." "Say it." Longao was very curious because he knew Long Fu's character very well. If there was nothing important, Long Fu would never disturb him at this time. "Master, I know how you feel. No matter how many starry sky divine sparks you refine now, it won't be of any use to the dragon sect. As for the situation in a year's time, no one can predict it. Therefore, Master, you should look at the present and not prepare for the future." "Long Fu, you may as well say it directly. What I mean is actually very simple. In the current situation, the starry sky godhead is useless to you, Master, and it is also useless to the dragon sect. In this case, it is better to refine it into a soul slave or corpse slave. When the time comes, Master, you will have an army of tens of thousands of starry sky soul slaves or corpse slaves. You can completely protect yourself, or even." Long Fu did not continue speaking at this point, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Longao was not a fool, of course, he understood Long Fu's meaning. As Long Fu said, the current starry sky godhead was indeed useless to him and the dragon sect. What he really had were soul slaves or corpse slaves. P.S. The 5th chapter has been delivered. Little 9 will speed up the last 2 chapters. Chapter 1927. Longao accepted Long Fu's suggestion. Refining a soul slave was indeed more useful than refining a starry sky godhead. At least, it was more useful now. "Master, do you want to refine a starry sky corpse slave or a starry sky soul slave?" These were 2 different concepts. Longao had thought it through. Since the massacre abyss was sealed by the divine mathematician, refining a starry sky corpse slave was useless. "Starry sky soul slave. Master, leave the rest to me. I will refine a starry sky soul slave army for you as soon as possible." He nodded. He definitely wouldn't touch a starry sky cultivator above level 9 easily. Hundreds of thousands of starry sky cultivators, with his own strength and level 8 starry sky soul slaves, he believed that he could create a starry sky soul slave army in a month's time. After deciding to refine a starry sky soul slave army, Longao's speed of killing starry sky cultivators increased. Among the hundreds of thousands of starry sky cultivators, at least 99% of them were starry sky cultivators below level 9. As for starry sky cultivators above level 9, there were very few of them. 1 month later, the 2 starry sky territory ancestors' hunting order was still ineffective. After a whole month, no one could find Longao's trace. Hong Lin and Chi Tian territory ancestor were depressed to the extreme. Even if the Sky Martial continent was huge, it shouldn't be so bad that hundreds of thousands of starry sky cultivators couldn't find a single person. It was a little ridiculous. However, for the Starry Sky Realm Emperor's Godhead and the 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' favor, everyone was still searching for Longao. This kind of temptation was irresistible. To ordinary Starry Sky cultivators, obtaining the Starry Sky Realm Emperor's Godhead and the 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' favor was more tempting than entering the Starry Sky secret domain. But what was the result? As time passed, some people began to feel that something was wrong. After all, tens of thousands of Starry Sky cultivators had disappeared. It was impossible to not be discovered. Why did everyone suddenly disappear? Could it be Longao's doing? However, no matter how hard they thought about it, no one thought that it was Longao's doing. What a joke! At this moment, Longao couldn't even protect himself. He was chased by people, and the 2 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky were gazing at him. If he dared to take the initiative to attack, he was really arrogant. 9 provinces continent. It was a very peaceful plain. It could be said that it was a flat land. Master, the last Starry Sky soul slave has been successfully refined. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was overjoyed. He immediately communicated with the Dragon Seal space, and in the next second, countless Starry Sky soul slaves appeared. There were tens of thousands of Starry Sky's soul slaves. At a glance, there were Starry Sky's soul slaves everywhere. Not to mention fighting against tens of thousands of Starry Sky's soul slaves, just looking at them was terrifying enough. Among the tens of thousands of Starry Sky's soul slaves, the weakest was a Grade 1 Starry Sky's soul slave, while the strongest was a Grade 8 Starry Sky's soul slave. As for Class 9 and above Starry Sky soul slaves, there was not a single one. Over the past month, Longao had not encountered any Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivators, let alone a Starry Sky Domain Lord or Starry Sky Domain Emperor. In this case, there was no need for him to take risk. With tens of thousands of Starry Sky's soul slaves, Longao had full confidence that he could kill any Starry Sky's cultivators below Grade 9 in a second. As for those above Grade 9, as long as they were not Starry Sky Domain Emperors, once they were besieged by tens of thousands of Starry Sky's soul slaves, it would not be easy for them to escape. Master, with the army of Starry Sky's soul slaves, you can even kill a Grade 9 Starry Sky's cultivator without mercy. As for a Starry Sky Domain Lord, it should not be a problem. However, you must remember, never try to provoke a Starry Sky Domain Emperor. Regarding the meaning of what Long Fu said, how could Longao not know? After a month of sneak attacks, it's time to strike back. In the past month, in order not to alert the enemy, Longao had been sneakily refining Starry Sky's soul slaves. However, the situation was different now. With tens of thousands of Starry Sky's soul slaves, Shi Yan could definitely strike back. However, Longao would not give up on refining more Starry Sky soul slaves. He had already decided to take advantage of this opportunity to refine more Starry Sky soul slave. This way, even if he entered the vast Starry Sky in the future, he would have the ability to protect himself. The Dragon Sect had risen. Hearing that the Dragon Sect had appeared all of a sudden, and Master Longao had also appeared, everybody was dumbfounded. Was it true? Was Longao not afraid of death? The 2 Starry Sky Territory ancestors had issued the hunting order, and so many people had chased after him. If it were someone else, he would have run away already. However, not only did he not run away, but he also appeared in the continent. What did he mean? Did he provoke the 2 Starry Sky Territory ancestors? Did he provoke all the Starry Skies cultivators? The Dragon Sect's headquarters was in the Red Flame Town of the 9 continent. Because of the counterattack, the Red Flame Town had become a big fire. However, because of the foreign Starry Skies cultivators, the Red Flame Town had become a pile of ruins. But now, in just a few days, the Red Flame Town that had turned into ruins suddenly became lively again. There were buildings everywhere, and there was even a majestic palace, the so-called Dragon Hall. As soon as the construction was completed, Longao had sent everyone away. The reason was simple. In front of Starry Skies cultivators, ordinary people were nothing but a fart. Anyone who came would die. The Starry Skies cultivators' target was themselves, not others. Why should they implicate others? This time, not all the Starry Skies cultivators had come, but waves after waves. One after another, one after another. Longao didn't show any mercy. In less than 2 hours, he had killed more than 100 Starry Skies cultivators, shocking the world. No one dared to step into the Red Flame Town anymore. Instead, they guarded the perimeter of the Red Flame Town. Everyone wanted to capture Longao and obtain the Starry Skies Domain Emperor's godhead, as well as the 2 territory ancestors' favor. However, under such circumstances, was it possible to obtain the Starry Skies Domain Emperor's godhead and the 2 territory ancestors' favor? Difficult. Longao's strength had already exceeded everyone's knowledge. This kind of secret technique that could increase one's strength without any backlash was really a little shocking. If that was the case, based on the previous example, Longao could use the secret technique to increase his strength and kill the Starry Sky Domain Lord. As for whether he could kill the Starry Skies Domain Emperor and Starry Skies Domain Emperor, no one knew. Without trying, no one could tell. Even so, no one dared to step into the Red Flame Town. After all, no one was unafraid of death. Under such circumstances, they could only wait for the 2 territory ancestors and the 6 Starry Skies Domain Emperors to come. It would be a waste of this opportunity. After all, it was the Starry Skies Domain Emperor's godhead and the 2 territory ancestors' favor. If they missed this chance, they might not have another chance like this in the future. Chapter 1928. At dusk, 2 Starry Sky Territory ancestors, 6 Starry Sky Region Emperors, and 30 Starry Sky Region Kings had all arrived at the Jiuzhou continent. Others might be afraid of Longao, but Hong Lin and the others were not. Even if Longao could improve his strength with the help of secret skills, it was impossible for him to kill a Starry Sky Region King. No matter what, Longao was only a level 3 Starry Sky cultivator. They thought they could kill Longao this time, but what was the result? When they stepped into the Red Fire Town, they found no one there. Where was Longao? Where was the Dragon Sect? Hong Lin and the others were not fools. When they saw no one in the Red Fire Town, they knew Longao was not there. They had been fooled. Anger. Endless anger. In this case, what could they do with anger? Longao was not there. They had no choice but to leave. When the news of Longao's sudden appearance in the Tianwu continent spread, all the Starry Sky cultivators rushed there, but there was still no one there. That was it. Longao played hide and seek with them. They could succeed the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, or even the sixth time. When it happened too many times, no one would choose to believe it. It was like a wolf coming. When it happened too many times, no one would believe it. The Jiuzhou continent, the Red Fire Town, the Dragon Sect came again. However, according to the news, even if someone came, it would be a Starry Sky cultivator. 99% of the starry sky cultivators would not come. That was the effect he wanted. The Martial Artists Alliance in the Tianwu continent. The Martial Artists Alliance was now a branch of the Heavenly Law Alliance. In this case, the Martial Artists Alliance could only rely on the Heavenly Law Alliance to survive. Otherwise, how could they face the foreign starry sky cultivators? Tong Tiandi, the leader of the Martial Artists Alliance, had died in the secret realm of Starry Sky. There were only 3 Starry Sky cultivators left in the Martial Artists Alliance. One of them was the ancestor of the Martial Artists Alliance, Tong Zun, a level 3 Starry Sky cultivator. The remaining 2 Starry Sky cultivators were Tong Zun's partner, Sky Wolf, and an elder. If it was in the past, with the current strength of the Martial Artists Alliance, they would definitely not have dared to provoke them. But now, the Martial Artists Alliance could be destroyed at any time under the invasion of foreign cultivators. As for Longao, he couldn't wait any longer. Since the situation had already come to this point, he might as well solve this problem once and for all. Martial Artists Alliance, Alchemy Alliance, Long Family, Azura Palace, Wan Shou Sect. Among the 5 superpowers, Longao chose the Martial Artists Alliance first. Tong Zun, come out and face your death. Feeling the murderous aura released by Longao, Tong Zun, Heavenly Wolf, and another Starry Sky cultivator all walked out. Seeing Longao in front of them, their faces instantly darkened. Longao, aren't you going too far? If it was in the past, Longao's actions would be understandable. But now, with the invasion of foreign cultivators, wasn't it a little too much to settle the grudge now? How could Longao not understand Tong Zun's intention? But what did the safety of the continent have to do with him? When the foreign cultivators attacked him, who helped him? Longao wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew that in the past month, many people from the Heaven Dao Union had been searching for him because of the Starry Sky Domain Emperor's godhead and the 2 Starry Sky Domain ancestors' favor. As long as others were cruel to him, he wasn't allowed to take revenge? What kind of logic was that? Longao snorted and sneered. Tong Zun, the grudge between you and me has to be resolved eventually. As the saying goes, the winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. If I wasn't lucky, I would be dead by now. What do you think? What did he think? Tong Zun was speechless because what Longao said was true. On the Sky Martial continent, the strong were respected, and the loser was the bandit. Everyone understood this logic. If it was in the past, he wouldn't be afraid of Longao. He might even be happy to see Longao. After all, if he could capture Longao, not only would he be able to obtain a Starry Sky Domain Emperor's godhead, but the 2 Starry Sky Domain ancestors would owe him a favor. Even he couldn't resist such temptation. But now, the situation was different. Longao had used a secret technique to increase his strength, and he could even kill a Starry Sky Domain Lord. Who in the entire Martial Artists Alliance could be his opponent? In the end, Tong Zun was afraid. Are you afraid? You think I'm afraid of you? Tong Zun would rather die than admit that he was afraid. However, right at this time, Longao took a step forward. Killing intent surged from his body, and it was obvious that he was ready to attack. Seeing Longao take a step forward, Tong Zun and the other 2 retreated with fear written all over their faces. In the end, Longao chose to use the Starry Sky Soul Slaves. With his strength, it wasn't easy to kill Tong Zun and the other 2 in the shortest time. In this case, he had to end the battle quickly to avoid unnecessary trouble. More than 1,000 Starry Sky Soul Slaves swarmed out. They didn't give Tong Zun and the other 2 a chance to speak, besieging and attacking them. 1 against 1,000, even if the 3 of them had 3 heads and 6 arms, they couldn't resist such an attack. Moreover, Longao had summoned more than 1,000 Starry Sky Soul Slaves, and some of them were at level 8. With such absolute suppression, it wasn't hard to imagine the consequences. In just a few seconds, the three of them were completely annihilated. However, Longao didn't kill them all. No matter what, the grudge between him and the martial artists' alliance was between him and Tong Tiandi and Tong Zun. It had nothing to do with anyone else. Tong Tiandi had died in the secret realm of stars. With Tong Zun's death, the martial artists' alliance existed in name only. His revenge had been avenged. In this case, there was no need for him to completely destroy the martial artists' alliance. Everyone in the martial artists' alliance, listen up. In 2 hours, I will destroy the martial artists' alliance. Those who don't leave will be killed without mercy. Longao's voice wasn't loud, but it spread across the entire martial artists' alliance. Everyone had witnessed the battle in the void of 9 heavens. With such a powerful existence and the rumors about Longao, no one dared to fight him head-on. They all wished they could grow 2 more legs and leave this place. In the face of life and death, the sect was nothing but bullshit. In less than 2 hours, the martial artists' alliance, which had hundreds of thousands of disciples, was now an empty shell. Not even a mouse could be seen, let alone a person. This was Longao's deterrence. With so many starry sky cultivators suppressing them and Longao's deterrence, who dared to provoke them? After confirming that there was no one left in the martial artists' alliance, Longao finally made his move. With his current strength, the entire martial artists' alliance collapsed in an instant and turned into ruins. Henceforth, the martial artists' alliance was completely removed from the Tianwu continent. P.S. The last chapter has been delivered. It's almost 3 o'clock. Xiao Jiu is going to bed. Good night, everyone. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.